everybody. You are listening to us, the History Boys. My name is Christopher Whedon, and I'm super stoked because I've got a new group of friends that I can't wait to hang out with after I get away from these losers.
You have to pick them up?
I gotta pick them up, so let's wrap this shit up.
They don't drive?
They're a real cool group of people, and they worship the sun god Ross from Friends.
Oh, I see.
And we're gonna go and we're gonna watch a movie together. Venom, the original, not the new one. That's not out yet, but I'm very excited. So,
Is this your first time?
I've never seen Venom, and it looked very good when it came out. And then I saw the trailer for the sequel, and it also looks like a solid, fun action adventure film that I can't wait to see the first one with my new buddies. So as soon as we can get this fucking over with, I would appreciate some hustle on this, Jerry.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. I'm under the gun on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I have a time limit.
You gotta, big time. I might just leave halfway through this. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty weird because everyone in the room except for Chris. Oh, by the way, Tyler Armitrout, history boy. Chris is blind to the fact that somehow he's become friends with their teenagers, but they're also in a cult. And he gives them rides places, and they
buy them alcohol.
Yeah, and smokes, and give them rides to like different cult events that they need to go on, and
it's like that episode of King of the Hill where Bobby gets involved with those like kind of weirdos.
Yep.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Zach.
but I know exactly what you're talking about. The one where Bobby's hanging out with the older teenage boys. They're trying to get him to drink like cow's blood or pig's blood out of a
dog blood, something like that.
Something stupid.
Yeah, Caninus spiritus.
That's
dog
right.
blood.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, enough about Chris drinking rat's blood with a bunch of underage rapscallions. Who else we got in this room?
Hello, my name is Zach the Drunk Tank Mech. They call me that because all the alcoholics tend to just like leech onto me, so I am like the drunk tank.
That's why we hang out with you.
It's true. And I keep saying, "Get out of my house! Go on, get! You want? It's morning time."
Yeah. That's how he tells us to leave after we're done working.
Yeah,
that's true.
It wouldn't be so scary if you just put away the gun.
Yeah, and
but then we might not leave.
Maybe put on some pants. That'd be. I mean, that would show us some courtesy.
Yeah, right? Just professional courtesy.
So professional courtesy.
Yeah. Well, I thought that to assert my dominance, having just one testicle hang out of my boxers would.
It's the size of a
enough.
tennis ball, which is disconcerting.
Yeah, you gotta get that looked
at. Goddamn, I need that universal healthcare.
Yeah.
It would be less weird if the testicle was your testicle. And not just a testicle, because that's the part that really gets us. It's not even the same color as the rest of you.
It's clearly been cut out of somebody.
So gross.
And I am Jerry Nash, your humble history boy. Thank you so much for joining us as we talk about a subject that I've been working on for about a year now.
There you go.
Slowly putting this episode together. This is something that has been requested multiple times by multiple people.
Oh God, that's right. Yeah, it's just on and on and on.
Since we started the show, we've had this one requested a lot.
Are we talking about chili?
Chili's.
Oh yeah, the history of Chili's, the restaurant.
Yeah, the restaurant
with the baby back rooms.
Yeah,
that's right. No, of course we are talking about Ramesses II. Cool. Ramesses the Great.
So he's the sequel to the original Ramses.
Mm-hmm.
Usually sequels aren't as good as the original, but these days you never
they're better.
know.
I mean, Empire.
We'll get into it.
Godfather 2. Ramses II.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2.
So I actually want to start today with a sonnet.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, a sonnet by Percy Shelley.
Is she the
husband of Mary Shelley?
Shelley was a man, you Philistine.
Yeah.
That's a Frisky Dingo reference. Yeah. Just ripping off stuff from them.
That's our first Frisky Dingo reference, I think.
Ding, ding, ding. Ring the
about that.
Frisky...
I think I make them unintentionally all the time.
Yeah.
So it was written in like friendly competition between two writers, because that's what they used to do back in the day.
Talk shit.
Percy Shelley was writing this about a particular statue that is in Egypt of the head of Ramses that's sitting on the ground in front of one of the ruined, the ruins of one of his temples, right? Mm-hmm. So and he never saw this statue. He was told about it. You know, but still, here's what he came up with.
I've heard about it.
Yeah. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hands that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing besides remains. Round the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
Yeah, the Shelley. Yeah.
Yeah. Shelley's cool.
So what that's sort of about is that, you know, no matter how powerful you are in life, history itself will leave you in the middle of the sand. And you'll be sort of forgotten
Bring you
by
back
time,
down, yeah.
You know. And I wanted to put this at the beginning because it happened so long ago that the fact that we know even this much about Ramesses the Great is astounding. Truly astounding.
Well, we're about to find out just how great he really was.
Yes, indeed.
I feel like I make that fucking joke every time there's somebody called the Great. And it's not my fault, because if they weren't all called the Great, I wouldn't have to make that joke, so...
Yeah. What about the Magnificent?
Oh, yeah.
I always picture somebody like, the Magnificent. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Statue of, what was this? Solomon? Soliman.
Yeah.
Sollyman.
Now, everything about Egyptology is hotly debated. Everything. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you right now, every number I mention, every single number I mention is debated.
Okay.
Everybody, it seems, has a different idea. A slightly different idea.
When do the aliens come in?
Never. Fermi's paradox. That's another thing. Anyway.
Tell us all about that.
No. Anyway, it's all sort of just for context, right? So all the numbers I mention, we're just going to sort of talk about them, and it's just sort of for context. It's not real. Let's not call it fact, okay? Because it's all we have.
Maybe just take it with a grain of sand.
Nice.
I love that.
That's solid.
And
solid.
I'm out.
Bye, see you later, bud. Yeah. Now, born in the New Kingdom era, around 1303 BCE.
It's not that new, yeah.
Not to us.
Solid joke on my part. Thanks, guys.
Ramses was born into very turbulent times. Now, he's sometimes known as Ramesses the Great. He was arguably Egypt's greatest king.
That's why they called him that.
Yeah, and he ruled for over a staggering 67 years.
Oh,
wow.
One of the longest monarchs to ever reign, ever.
This is before term limits.
Yeah, well, you know, I think Victoria ruled for like 70 or something like that. There was a Thai king that ruled for 70, something like that, so 70 some years.
Yeah, but he had a bubble. He was like a bubble boy.
Yeah.
So did Ramses. We'll see why.
He had a bubble too?
Oh, he had a bubble.
I just figured he was immune to poison.
He was dead, but he had a bubble. Anyway, we'll get there.
I'm excited.
We'll get there. And yeah, he died well into his old age. Ramses did. He built many great things and led his military to glory on several occasions, and had so many children that no one would have to worry about succession ever.
He had so many children that if you knew the number, you'd probably go blind just from looking at it.
It's like trying to find the end of pi.
Yeah. He had as many children as digits of pi.
Curse of the Mummy.
Yeah, textbook.
Now, Ramses' grandfather was Ramesses I.
Naturally.
That's his grandfather. And Ramses I was a high-ranking military man. He was a commoner. He was not of royal blood. But at this time, no one was of royal blood. The 18th dynasty was crumbling. And it's known as sort of the heretic dynasty, the 18th dynasty is. Because you have Akhenaten that basically, he tried to change the religious makeup of Egypt. It's all for a story for a different day. But they even tried to, like, make it better afterwards, like Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
That was his son.
King Tut.
Yeah, there you go. He didn't rule for very long. He ruled for like 10 years, I want to say.
Wasn't he like 13 when he died?
He was a child.
Yeah.
He was a child.
God, that sounds awful.
But there was
Right.
his vizier named Ai ruled after him, and then they had a couple other just sort of lesser military men that were sort of kings, and then we had Ramesses the First. And Ramesses the First we almost know nothing about. He didn't rule for very long. He was an old man, and so his son Seti the First became king after him. Seti the First really did it right because he had Ramses, his son Ramses, with him on military campaign. So this kid learned
Bring him up right.
all about that stuff, and he really learned. He was also made co-regent, just like in Rome later. They kind of did the same thing.
Busy guy. It's doing all that and also the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And so,
I'm glad you made that comment.
the truth is out there, folks.
There's going to be a lot of that talk in there. So yeah, in times where dynasties start to fail and fall, the military does usually most of the time throughout history sort of fill that power vacuum, and that's what happened here. So the 19th dynasty began with Ramses I. And the traditions that were ignored by the previous dynasty would be restored, presumably to the joy of the Egyptian people, because again, they didn't really like the one god solution that Amun had. And actually, Amun, there is a record of him standing by the banks of the Nile and saying there is only one god, which is interesting because that's also in the Bible. And they don't mention who the pharaoh of the Bible is, but that this is something he is said to have done. So basically, people have claimed that the pharaoh of the Bible is multiple people throughout time, and everyone disagrees. Everyone disagrees who it is.
So Amun's like, hey, I'm the one guy, and everyone else was like, I got a moon for you, and then they all they dropped down there. Did they have pants? They had pants back then. They dropped their pants. They're brandishing their buttocks at him, probably making him feel about this big.
Did I say Amun? I said Akhenaten was the king that said Amun, right?
Wait. Oh, okay. Wait, no. Akhenaten said Amun was the one god.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Never mind.
Anyway,
I thought you said Amun was the pharaoh.
No, Amun's the sun god.
Sorry,
Ironically, he's the sun god because you'd think if he was the sun god, he'd be called the sun and not Amun.
Well, I heard that. I heard Ross Geller was the sun god, so from the group I hang out with.
For the new group?
Yeah.
For my new friends.
As Ross defeats the god of destruction, Seth Rogen, every night.
They're managing your Facebook page now.
And by the way, Seth can also be called Set, of course. Ra can also be called Ray as well. I've heard it pronounced both ways. So Ray and Seth, Ra and Set. I've heard it pronounced both ways.
So Ray and Seth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves Ray.
Yeah.
Nobody
likes Seth.
Right? Yeah.
Seth's a dick.
So yeah, by this time, Egypt was unified. Upper and Lower Egypt were unified. And of course, Upper Egypt is in the south, and Lower Egypt is in the north.
Yeah.
Because the Nile runs into the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Up. Mm-hmm. Right?
See, this I knew.
Yeah.
Tell me something I don't know, Jerry.
Okay, I'm just making sure, guys.
Yeah. It's like, Jerry's like, blah, 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 Fertile Crescent, breadbasket of all humanity. And I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Now, if you notice on the statues of Ramses, he's wearing two crowns. That's the two crowns of Upper and Lower Egypt.
Bit of a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
It quite literally is a hat on a hat. So the red crown is for Lower Egypt, and then the white crown is for Upper Egypt. So you ever notice they're wearing that white crown? Kind of looks like a pope hat.
Yeah.
Almost.
Incredibly insecure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's for Upper Egypt, right? And then the red, of course, is for Lower.
It was the way that they showed people, like, do you know who I am? If they got pulled over by a cop for, like, drunk driving or something.
Yeah.
They didn't have to, like, list all their IMDb credits. They could just be like, look at my hat.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was very much a military family. Very much a military family. They were followers of Seth.
He's hilarious.
Which is, well, it's interesting because there hadn't been a king of Egypt yet that was a follower of Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's interesting. It's sort of a new thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of badass.
Yeah.
It's like a Satan worshiper president.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sort of. Well, different towns had their own sort of patron gods too, and they would sort of disagree. They'd be like, "My god's better than your god."
So now there's all these hot new gods coming on the scene.
Well, it's been around for a long
See,
time.
it's so much more simple when you have one god, because then nobody fights.
Yeah. And they had red hair. They did. Some say that like it's a religious thing connected with Set. That I don't really know how it works, but if you had red hair, then you were all the
Seth's
followers
a
of
fucking
Seth
ginger.
had red hair or something. Is sort
so
of how
they're
I heard.
Scottish.
Yeah, if you were a
Yeah.
follower of Set, then you had no soul.
Seth had a thick Scottish accent.
Yeah, somehow.
So, Seti's son, there was another son, but he had passed away. So he had, the crown prince became Ramesses II. Now his name, before he became king of Egypt, because you took a new name like the Pope when you became king, his name was Ramesses Meriamun.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, right.
Meaning, Ra has made him beloved of Amun.
Oh.
Oh.
I was hoping it meant unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Isn't
Translates to
Amun,
a tour of Italy.
Amun is the one god, right? Like,
Yes, basically they didn't want to worship just one god. It's not that they didn't like the one god. It's that
They're
they
like-
didn't want to worship just one.
we know there's that. They were like, I'm not saying Amun doesn't exist. For sure he does. I'm just not saying he's number one.
Yeah.
Well, and there's others that you have to pay tribute to.
You got dog face guy, cat face guy, and the rest.
You got that bird?
That bird. Oh, DeAndre Reynolds.
Yeah.
Toth,
Yeah.
god of riding.
Oh, yeah. There's Toth. I was thinking of Horus, but they're both birds.
Horus as well. He's a hawk-headed
Yeah.
god.
Yep.
You know?
Brendan Fraser's gonna get all of them.
Yeah.
Gonna get him.
Not these guys again.
Fucking love that
And
movie.
actually, a funny thing, Anubis, the jackal-headed god.
yeah.
Cool.
The thing is Anubis, he comes, from the earliest parts of Egyptian religion. Earliest parts.
I think he'd be an old bus.
Because jackals they're scavengers. And they eat dead bodies.
Well, yeah, isn't he the god of the dead?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And so, he is sort of an eater of the dead. He takes, so, of course, it's a jackal-headed god, right? And then they say, Anubis lives up on a hill in a tent. So when they do mummification, which we'll get to later, it's always sort of away from everyone else.
Because it's
Because it
gross.
stinks.
Okay, I was right.
The smell, yeah.
Also, they don't, they're making curses up there.
They don't
You know
want
what
you
I mean?
spying on it.
They're making curses.
Yeah, they're like, you guys stay away. We don't want any curse to get on you. We're gonna do it over here.
Yeah.
No.
Fucking Elvis and Costello are on their way over
Yeah.
there.
Elvis and Costello.
Yes.
Elvis.
Elvis.
Abbott and Costello.
No, Elvis Costello.
Elvis
And
his brother Costello.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Costello Presley. Pay attention.
Oh my god.
We're the history boys.
Everything we say is true. So while he was still young, we're talking, 8, 10, in that era, 12. He's on campaigns with his father, but he takes a wife. Her name is Nefertari. Not to be confused with Nefertiti.
Oh.
Completely different. That's 18th dynasty.
Yeah.
No, Nefertari. She was amazing. We're going to talk about her later. But
Was she also a child?
Yes, they were
Okay.
actually around the same age.
Okay.
And it wasn't odd to be married that young.
Yeah.
And Ramesses would have a lot of wives.
Yeah.
She was by far his favorite, and we're gonna get to that. But she was very educated. She knew how to read and write hieroglyphs.
I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy to learn. It is.
Don't steal her thunder.
But most people back then did not know how to do that. By and large, most people, it was just priests and kings that knew how to do that. She did. She knew how to do all that. As well as, she also could write in cuneiform script and speak several languages as well.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, because cuneiform is just a script. It's like our alphabet, right?
It's also a bone in your foot.
Ah,
3 of them.
okay.
Cuneiform?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's pronounced the same.
Well,
It's like how French has the same alphabet we do.
yeah.
Yep.
Think of cuneiform like that. You can write in different languages in cuneiform.
Could she write in papyrus on papyrus?
In the font?
Usually, yeah. In the papyrus font.
Yeah.
No, it's all in Windix, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's only because they didn't have Comic Sans yet.
Yeah, otherwise, it would have been all Comic Sans.
They had Comic Sans back then.
I don't get it.
I want Comic Serif.
Yeah. More serious comic.
So I mean business, but I'm still a lot of fun.
I think that would be graphic novel font.
Yeah.
A lot of people, actually, on that note, though, a lot of people use pottery shards, as, like, their scrap paper, because papyrus was expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people would, like, make shorthand, and then transfer it to papyrus, and just take the pot shards and toss them in the corner. So that's how we know all these things, is from their, like, discarded pot shards. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you go and you, for all you kids at home, when you take anthropology, you think you're going to be Indiana Jones, and then you find out that all your jobs are just picking through shards, clay shards, and putting them in bags and labeling them. That's what you can look forward to.
Yeah. It's
If
a cool
you're lucky.
job, though. It's a cool job.
No, yeah.
Honestly.
A lot of travel, a lot of beer drinking.
Oh, it sounds so awful.
Now, we do know about Nefertari. Her body was... her tomb was robbed, and her body was destroyed. But we did find pieces of her body.
Oh.
And we can tell from those pieces that she was tall and slender. And by all accounts, contemporary accounts of hers, she was extremely beautiful.
Ah, babe.
Extremely beautiful.
That's why.
Yeah.
So whoever got the head.
God damn it. God damn it.
Well, I'm just saying he's got a great conversation piece here. She, I'm not. I didn't suggest that anyone was going to be.
You know what happened is when her tomb was robbed, they took her body out and they burnt it.
Roughed it up a bit.
For their fires.
Ah, fuck. That
must
sucks.
have went up like a pile of pine neats dry on a summer
Honestly,
day.
that's what they did.
Just boom.
Yeah. Well, it's like, that didn't cook my beans.
Burnt hair and onions.
Scrape the salt off, though. Oof. Anyway, now some even say that she was even sort of a co-regent of Ramses while he was away on military campaigns. That she made a lot of decisions. Some people disagree with this. Some people just say that she was just the great wife. They didn't have a word for queen, by the way, in Egypt. They did not. So they were just called, like, the number one wife was the great wife.
Main wife. Great wife shark.
She was the great wife. But yes, as I mentioned before, he had many wives. A lot of them were taken from the Grand Harem.
Ah.
The harem. He had a lot of concubines as well. And he had, over his lifetime, he had over 100 children. Over 100 children.
There's got to be some doubles in there. So we're going to name this one Mark. We already have 3?
Fuck!
Alright, this is Mark the Accident. We already have a Mark the Accident.
Mark the Accident 3. So when Seti I dies, Ramses was in his late teens. When he became king of Egypt, like I said, you change your name. So the Egyptian kings had 5 names. They had the Horus name, right? They had the Nebti name, the Golden Horus name,
Okay.
Oh.
and the throne name, and the given name. The last 2 are what is in the cartouche. You guys know what a cartouche is?
It's like their Bible.
No. A cartouche, when you look on like the walls, how it's always just covered in hieroglyphs and writing.
Yeah.
You'll always notice there's like an oval, there's a circle, and there's writing inside the circle, right? That is a cartouche. What that is the name of the king.
Okay.
That's the king's name. So
No
anytime
shit,
you see
okay.
a circle with the symbols in the middle, that's a cartouche. King's name, right?
Huh.
So yeah, these last 2 names would be in the cartouche. Now his Horus name, I'm gonna butcher these names horrifically.
Can't wait.
You're not ancient Egyptian?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm gonna butcher these. So his Horus name, there's a couple of different translations, and I did everything for this episode except for learn how to speak or learn how to write and transliterate hieroglyphs. I'm gonna do my best.
All those guys are dead. Do whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
You could say his name's
Yeah.
Sonny. Like,
Yeah.
no one's
His
gonna
name
fuck
is
with
on
him.
fire.
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton. His name is Kanakt Meri Ra, or Uzurmatra, which means... and by the way, the Greeks heard Uzurmatra and were like, oh, it sounds like Ozymandias. It's Ozymandias. So that's where we get Ozymandias from.
Okay.
Close enough.
So Ozymandias
like the Watchman.
is
They kind of did the
Ramesses.
things I was just talking about, where they're like, just call him
Just
call
call
him
him whatever.
something else.
But
But it means-
Ozymandias, whatever.
It means roughly a strong bull, beloved of Ra. Okay?
He does love a strong bull.
His Nepti name...
Well, I mean, he had 100 kids, so
Yeah.
he was the bull.
His Nepti name was Mek Kemet Waf Kasut, protector of Kemet, who curbs foreign lands.
Cool.
Do you know what Kemet means?
No.
Whatever.
That's the that's the name that the ancient Egyptians would have called themselves.
Okay.
It's not Egypt. It's Kemet.
Kemet. Okay.
Kemet.
All
and
right.
actually, a fun fact about that: we get alchemy, which is Arabic,
Yeah.
alchemical,
Yeah.
alchemy. We get that from Kemet, chemistry.
Yeah.
Basically, we get from Kemet because their what they called the necessary art was medicine.
Okay.
And it was the first ever civilization to have specialists. They had eye doctors, they had ear doctors, they had gynecologists.
Oh.
They had all these things. It was the necessary art, medicine was. And so we get Kemet, we get that, we finally get chemistry from the name of Egypt.
But the real question was it free, or did they have to get insurance?
There was no such thing as insurance. It was probably free, but they could only do certain things for you.
Yeah.
Right? There had a lot of things that simply didn't work. They just didn't know yet.
Yeah.
They didn't know what bacteria was. They had no infection. Any way to deal with
No germ
infection.
theory, none of
no
that
germ
stuff.
theory.
A lot of salves,
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Cells that didn't work.
Yeah.
But
That made you feel better.
they ground up worms, things like that. Yeah, a lot of things that just didn't help.
But did you need a prescription for certain boozes or no?
Probably not. I mean, they
No.
probably had beer.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And then we have the golden Horus name, Uzurenput Anektu, which means powerful in years, great in victories. Strangely prophetic.
Okay, I should have asked this question earlier, but what is the difference between Horus and Golden Horus?
It's the horse right before the sun sets.
Because I'm thinking like Super Saiyan Horus.
Basically,
Super Saiyan Horus,
it
yeah.
has to do with an outward projection. So your Horus name is sort of your outward projection to your people on how you relate to Horus. And then there's your golden Horus name, which is more... the way I understand it, at least, is how it relates to your eventual afterlife.
Yeah.
Because afterlife and death really loomed large in the Egyptian mindset.
They couldn't wait to die.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. Your whole life was in preparation for death.
interesting. Okay, that's what I was trying to kind of wrap my head
I
around.
believe so. Don't take that with fact, but I believe so. And yeah, they were resurrectionists. They believed that you would resurrect in a very similar world. They believed that the next world would be very similar to this one.
So their religion was the Matrix.
Yeah.
Well, what they thought would happen is that they would, of course, they were buried with food.
Yeah.
They were buried with all their shit, all their money, and all their shit, and written on the walls is what you have to do, right? Because there's like the Book of the Gates written on the walls, and the Book of the Gates just is like, okay, here's all the magic words you got to say to these gatekeepers that don't want to let you in. Right? So, like, you go, oh, shit, I gotta say this, I gotta say this, I gotta say... Okay, great, I'm ready for those gates.
You're bleeding out like, I gotta fucking memorize
Well, you're a
those.
mummy. You're a
Oh,
mummy,
yeah,
right?
wow.
You're all wrapped up.
You got,
to
you got a long
Verona
time to
next
memorize
time.
those.
Yeah, you're all wrapped up, ready to curse some people.
The original Book of the Dead is just on the walls of their tombs. And actually, after the collapse of the Old Kingdom... Basically, the original Book of the Dead is just what's written on the walls. And the crazy part is after the Old Kingdom collapsed, during the intermediate period, people went into these tombs. And they found out that you could resurrect if you did all this stuff. And they're like, I want it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, before, in the Old Kingdom, it was just for the kings. No one else had this knowledge. But now everybody did. So now everybody wanted to be mummified. And actually, they had like a mortuary industry where like you straight up like if you weren't super rich, you could pay for sort of like the econo mummification.
It's like Coach.
Yeah. And they didn't have colonies elsewhere outside of Egypt because if you didn't die in Egypt, then there was a chance you wouldn't be mummified and the right stuff done to you, and you wouldn't resurrect. So they didn't want. No one wanted to live outside of Egypt.
It's like the oldest cult.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Wait, I have another dumb question to ask.
Yeah, go for it.
Wasn't I thought that there was a town outside of Egypt or someplace, some like fucking hidden secret oasis place that they used to do trade with.
They traded with a lot of people. But they didn't have colonies outside.
Okay.
But they would trade, yes.
Okay.
They weren't great sailors either. People would come to them, but they weren't great sailors. They were spoiled by the Nile because all you had to do was put up a sail and you could go one way, or take down the sail, you can go the other way. You know. Yeah. So if they were really spoiled by the Nile.
Easy peasy.
And anytime they ever went anywhere else, they really hugged the coast. You know what I mean? Because they just weren't very good at that.
Fuck.
So the stuff in American Gods about them going to America way back in the day is probably bullshit.
That's bullshit. Thor Heyerdahl.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He said that was what happened.
Yeah.
That the ancient Egyptians got these reed boats, these unsinkable reed boats that they used on the River Nile.
Yeah.
And they sailed through the Mediterranean, either through the Mediterranean or down over the Horn of Africa.
Yeah.
And made it across the Pacific to South America.
That's bullshit.
Sounds like quite the trek.
That just seems like a stretch to me. I think it's bullshit. If you choose to believe in that, that's you. But I think it's bullshit.
As an entire society of people that are terrified of not dying at home,
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, they're terrified of the ocean. It's so far from Egypt.
You know they didn't get mummified if they did that.
Yeah, you wouldn't get mummified if you went all the way across. You know, come on.
Are we out of raw names? Because I feel like every time you say I'm speaking of Book of the Dead, the clouds are really kind of collecting over the house.
Oh,
so
yeah. I'll keep reading it, and we're gonna have like a thunderstorm.
Yeah. Then we're gonna get cursed.
So early in Ramses' reign, about his 5th year into his reign, he led an army of 20,000. We are told. By his own propaganda. Again, take all of it with a grain of salt because we know all of this through his own propaganda. Okay.
So he told me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But he took his army into modern-day Syria. This is a place where his father was doing a lot of military campaigns as well, against the Hittites, which is modern-day Turkey. The Hittite Empire was in modern-day Turkey.
They go around hitting people's titties.
So there's a place in the Levant, in Syria, ancient city called Kadesh. And this was it was a contested city that they, the Egyptians would fight for it, the Hittites would fight for it, and it was just sort of this contested place. So Ramses, he leads his army up there. He's getting closer, and honestly, there's something really interesting about this is he has to cross a desert to get there. When you do this and you're moving 20,000 people, you run into supply problems, and you have to really figure out supply issues. Like, how do you feed and water an entire army like this? Like, if you get to a town with 4 wells, people are going to die.
Or, in the middle of the desert, you crack a single Coors Light. And then you hear that chugga 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 choo choo. The smoke starts coming down.
Right.
Next thing you know, there's a bunch of chicks in American flag bikinis shooting you with t-shirt cannons.
Yeah, spraying fire hoses and stuff.
Problem solved.
Yeah, water supplies were a problem. Anytime there's anything like that, 20,000 people, town of 4 wells, those wells will dry up with you simply can't water all of those people. They will die of thirst.
Right.
So there was even one bonkers theory that's mentioned by Herodotus that said that they tied a bunch of sheep stomachs together and made a pipeline of water across the desert.
No, they didn't.
Wait, what was the pipe made out of?
That shit would rot.
Sheep stomach.
Yeah.
That would rot fast.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah, like, speaking
You
of
sew them all
jackals,
together. Yeah.
they come and they fucking chew on the lines.
Yeah, dogs. I
Yeah,
mean,
you gotta send guys back to fucking fend off the jackals trying to chew on your intestine pipe.
Yeah, it just wouldn't work.
It's freaking brutal.
Yeah. But he gets close to Kadesh, and there's these defectors, and they say, we'd much rather be with you, Ramses. And he goes, he interrogates them, and he's like, where's the enemy? And he's like, oh, they're up here. The Hittites actually knew that they were coming. So the Hittite king, Muwatallis, he actually had 40,000 troops laying in wait to surprise Ramesses. And he was taken off guard. And when the battle looked its bleakest, the stelas or steles, or you can pronounce it a bunch of different ways. I'm going to say Stella. That's how I heard it.
Stella!
How did I know? Anyway.
I almost said it too.
Yeah.
But I was trying to remember the name Street House.
Streetcar name.
Street car named Desire.
Street house named
Street
Car.
House. Street House named Car Desire.
Played by Elvis and Costello.
Yeah. Elvis as well as Costello.
Yes.
I know I mostly know it from The Simpsons.
So they were ambushed, right? According to Ramesses' account, he himself led a group of a small troop, not very many troops behind him, and he personally led a charge and routed the Hittites.
Oh, you got to.
How he do it?
I probably didn't. This is what it says on a stela, right?
He's like, we're going after that town. We really want more towns that are onomatopoeias. So we're going after Kadush. And
he transformed into his golden Horus form.
Right.
Which gave him a lot more power, and he Kamehameha'd them all.
Yeah. Well, actually, what is more accurate is that it ended inconclusively. The battle ended inconclusively.
Everybody got bored and went home.
TVA.
It was a Vietnam situation, is what
Battle
it was.
of attrition.
Ramesses was offered a peace treaty, and he refused it. And he actually settled for just a truce. And he said, I'll be back, basically, and then left.
That feels like not a conqueror move. He shows up, gets a stalemate. They go, how about we just chill? And he goes, no, I'm still conquering you. They're like, but did you see what happened out there? And he's like, yeah, but no, like, this is the thing. He's like, how about we truce? He's like, how about I be back?
Yeah.
Like, whatever, man.
Let me think about it.
Well, the thing is
I'm gonna get a couple more guys and kick your ass.
I'm gonna bring my buddies down here.
Going back down and being like, hey,
Push around a bit.
anyone else want to kick these guys' asses?
Well, according to his own propaganda, because when he came back, this is way like Washington, like Dr. Bob Breyer, which is where I got a lot of this from. He said that it was like Washington crossing the Delaware. Like this is
the moment
in the lexicon. This is what seals his fame, right?
Okay.
And he puts it everywhere. He puts the story of this battle everywhere. Like this is the best. The best reported on, the best cataloged event in all of ancient history. Because it's everywhere. He carved it on everything.
I want them all to hear about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a great piece of propaganda. Great piece.
I feel like it's the military equivalent of having your significant other tell you it's a good size. And then you're like, I'm going to go tell all my friends what she said.
Yeah.
3 inches really is adequate.
Yeah. But if you ask the Hittites, though, like they have done archaeology around Turkey, of course, they found the same type of thing during the Hittite time, and they said that they won. You know? So they're both at sort of a stalemate, right?
Well,
right.
One group stayed in the same place and the other group went home, so I think I'm going to trust the Hittites.
I'm telling you it was inconclusive, and they both went home. But if you just listen to Ramesses, he kicked their ass. You know what I mean?
Sounds like he's full of shit.
Yeah.
He is. He is.
Fucking grifter ass king.
He probably did well, but not nearly as well as what he says. Yeah. You know?
Gentlemen C.
Yeah. So Ramesses, he even went back to Kadesh. There was the siege of Dapur. And he actually fended off the sea peoples, people from the Mediterranean.
Ocean.
Sardinians.
Okay.
Sardine men.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the
Mermen.
thing is
Oh,
a lot of
taste
people
delicious.
a lot of people mistake that for Ramesses III. Now, Ramesses III is part of actually a different dynasty, Dynasty 20, but he named himself after Ramesses the Great.
It's like 2 dynasties after.
It's one dynasty.
Oh, wait, okay.
It's the next dynasty after Ramesses II.
It's the reboot.
And during the 20th dynasty, everybody is named Ramses. No, Ramses III is the one that fought off the Sea Peoples during the Bronze Age collapse. Not Ramses II. He did fight against the Sea Peoples, but it's not that battle that is depicted.
You know
on
I'm
the
thinking of
walls.
Merman every time you say Sea Peoples.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm imagining they got crab claws.
We don't know who they were, really.
Yeah, they were crab people.
We assume that they were probably sailors that fought.
No.
They're crab people.
Taste like crab, look like
people.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Turns out they're actually a Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah.
And he had military campaigns in the south, in Nubia, as well. But he also moved the administration capital from Memphis to his new city.
Sorry.
He's trying to get his country music out there.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's not Hank. He's not Hank Williams, man. No.
Who is though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's more of a Waylon Jennings.
Although Hank Williams did have a dynasty to speak of, he moved it away from Memphis to a new city called Pi Ramses, and I've also heard that pronounced differently. But he built a new city in the north, in the lower kingdom, in the delta, in the Nile River delta. Basically, so it was more strategic. So all of his incursions into Syria, he was more centrally located.
closer to restaurants.
Yeah. Closer to his favorite like halal restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, Nile Delta, that's where all the yums come from.
Thebes, actually, that's the Greek name for the city. But that was the religious seat of power, right? That was where, Karnak is near there. And Karnak it's a temple complex. Don't think of it as one temple. It's huge. You can
like
get
a
lost.
campus.
Yeah, you can get lost in Karnak.
It's like Epcot, but more religious.
It's bigger than that, I believe.
Bigger than Epcot?
I believe it's 100 acres in one direction, and it's big. It's big.
We're going to need a bigger people mover.
Yeah. Actually, Thebes is... So, I mentioned it's a Greek name, but Wasit is the Egyptian name. That's what they would have called it. It's modern-day Luxor.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Casino.
Wasit is what they would have called
It's
it.
that black pyramid that shoots a laser into the sky.
Oh, on the strip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Luxor. Yeah, the Luxor Casino or whatever it is. Skipping ahead just a little bit, in Ramses' 20th something year of his rule, he actually negotiated a peace treaty with the Hittites. And a lot of people say that Nefertari had a hand in this, because there are records that she had correspondence with the Hittite queen or princess or whatever, because the Hittite king kept getting deposed and dying. They had their own political struggles, but Ramses outlived a bunch of them basically. but she had correspondence and that she became friends with these people. Some people say that she had a big hand in coming to this peace treaty, right? So around, again, year 20 of his rule, he signs a peace treaty. And this peace treaty is the first recorded peace treaty in world history.
Oh.
Whoa.
First one. It was written on a silver plate.
Oh.
Oh, you could serve cheeses and charcuterie off of it.
Well, on the opposite side of the peace treaty was the pilot episode of Sex and the City that Atari was trying to get done.
Yeah. So it was written in cuneiform, but in two different languages, right?
For better reception.
It was written in Akkadian and Egyptian. But yeah, you transliterate it, and yeah. Anyway, they were very impressed by the fact that it was silver. And actually, this peace treaty stood for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years.
Crazy.
Pretty interesting.
Well, and the first of its kind, and it's something that is a pretty common element of kind of the martial experience,
right?
In terms of either one person loses, one person wins. You sign a peace treaty, and it's always been something that's there. Not always,
right?
That's the first one,
right?
So pretty cool.
It's the first one, yeah. And another thing that Ramses would do outside of his military, his martial experience, he would build a lot of things. He built at Abydos.
Was it pyramid shaped?
No, it wasn't. Pyramids were 1,000 years old by this point.
Okay.
Think about this. How far away is 1,000 years for us? Think about that.
Yeah.
That is how far away the pyramids were for Ramesses II.
So those had already been there. Nobody gives a shit.
He's like, these old ass fucking buildings.
And I'll come back to that.
Some idiots built these a long time ago before I was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Abydos, he built a mortuary temple where his father, Seti I, was laid to rest. His father probably started that as well. Ramses is called the Great Chiseler as well because he covered up he covered up what other people had put and put his own name over the top of it. He like erased their name and put his own name on it.
What a dick.
And he did that everywhere. So like it makes it really hard for Egyptologists because they have to be like, now is this really Ramses? Chances are it's probably not.
Yeah.
You know, or
I
not
think
100%.
this Chiselers is actually a sizzler.
And then he built the Ramesseum. And that's
Is that named after him?
Yeah, it's his mortuary temple where he personally was buried. However, during, again, still ancient times, during certain times of other instability after him, they were robbing tombs, and priests took a lot of the mummies out of those tombs and hid them somewhere else. This is called the royal cache. So when they found it in the 1880s, it was actually found much earlier in the early 1800s, but it was lost again, and then they rediscovered it in the late 1800s. That's where they found this royal cache of mummies.
It's a bit of a surprise curse situation. Maybe you're gonna get treasure, boom, surprise, you're all cursed. Because there's like 4 mummies in here, that's 4 times the curses.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you can breathe with all that curse.
We're gonna make this guy dark with curse.
Yeah, he built these hypostyle halls with 48 columns. These giant columns. Giant columns.
Columns were hot at that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the way to hold up a roof.
Right.
It's the only way to hold up a roof. He also built at Karnak. Everybody built at Karnak. Everybody added things onto Karnak. In fact, a lot of stuff that his father, Seti I, built at Karnak, he erased and then put his own name on it.
What a fucking...
But
This guy
he's
just seems like a dick. I'm sorry.
No, exactly.
Let me explain this to you. Okay, so doing that, like, he even says, like, it's a good son that completes his father's work. He says that on one of the temples. And
But it wasn't like Seti and Ramses the Second, like
No,
fucking
no.
bar and grill or whatever. You know what I mean?
Seti and Sons.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No, it's not that. Honestly, it's kind of religious. It's kind of religious. Like, a lot of people think, you know, when they see that, their knee-jerk reaction is like, man, this guy's ego is through the roof. And it was. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, no... What he was thinking is that the gods would look down on him, and that they would see these temples that are built for them, and they would give credit to whoever's name was on it. So may as well just put your name on it.
Theological trickle-down economics.
That's a good way of putting it.
It really is, honestly.
Talk about ramifications.
There you go. That's a good one.
His most impressive thing that he ever built was his temples at Abu Simbel.
Oh.
You guys know what Abu Simbel is, right?
No.
I thought you were going to say it's Trans Am. Honestly.
Yeah.
He got it up and running finally.
He's got it off of those
He had it-
blocks. Everyone doubted him. It was fucking cherry now.
Yeah,
It was at
it's
his
got
brother's for a while.
427 in it, man. It fucking flies.
It was right outside his brother's garage on blocks for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calls it Ramses the Third. All of his kids get sad about it.
No, Abu Simbel, that is the temple I'm sure you've all seen. Carved out of the mountain. Out of a mountain.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, now you say it.
And there's 4 statues out front. 66 feet tall. 67 or 66. I've heard both. Feet tall. And there's 4 of them, and they're all him. They're all...
Not a one is Abraham Lincoln.
No, they're all sitting next to each other, and of course, in the middle is where you enter right? He has smaller statues, one of Nefertari and one of his mother. Next to him, they're smaller, right when you walk in. They're the smaller statues. All of his exploits, Kadesh, the story of Kadesh, all inside. But the first thing you see is, bound people, like people that are like, languishing under the yoke of the pharaoh, the king, right?
It was actually
it was actually built in Nubia, south of their border, to warn anyone going up the Nile that you're entering Egypt, buddy.
Yeah.
And
This is Ramesses town,
because
friend.
because when you're on a boat on the Nile, you have to pass this shit. And I'm okay, full disclosure, I am pretty terrified of all Egyptian statues. Don't really know why.
Curse.
Yeah.
I'm cursed.
No, they'll curse you. That's what they do.
I don't really know why, but I'm terrified. But if I was a Nubian coming, up the Nile, and I saw this shit, I would turn right the fuck back around. Because if you were brave enough to go inside, it's like, oh, we kicked your motherfucking asses a long time ago. It's like, all right, I'm getting out of here.
It's like the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right?
It's like abandon all hope, ye who enter.
Exactly.
Beginning of the ride.
Yeah.
And then you hit that first drop. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So
Then
maybe
you
it's
see a
not
bunch
so
of
bad.
singing robots. It's great.
They're dressed like pirates.
Yeah, it's fun. But actually, you know how one of the statues, if you look at Abu Simbel, one of the statues, the head is missing and it's sitting on the ground next to it. That happened by an earthquake while Ramses was still alive. An earthquake happened, the head fell off.
God damn
And
it.
he always meant to getting around to putting it back on and just couldn't get around to it.
Too busy putting his name on all this other shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you got a list, you make a list of all the projects you have to do around your kingdom, and, things get, priorities get shuffled.
Well, the thing is no one had ever done anything like this before in Egypt. No one had ever even thought of anything like this. Carving something out of the living rock like this. No one had ever done anything like that. Usually they cut shit out of blocks and then go from there, right?
Yeah.
They stack them up and then go from there, right? But
Stack
no.
blocks.
Yeah, but not this. This is carved out of the mountain, right? So, like, when something like that happens, not a lot you can do about it if you're living back in these times, right? And actually, on a certain day, the sun shines all the way through the temple and illuminates Ramses and Nefertari that are sitting in the middle all the way in the back of the temple. Whoa. And they think that it's on Ramses' birthday is when that happened. The day. Because there's one day where that happens.
That's crazy.
It's
That's
absolutely
awesome.
insane.
Wouldn't
so
that day
fucking
slowly
cool.
change over time, though?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But when it was built, it was probably that way. Yeah.
So it might have shifted by a couple days, one
I don't
way or
know.
another.
I'm not a scientist. I have no idea.
The
how
weird
much
part
it
is when the
shifted.
sun hits it, it goes, whee, whee.
The thing is, though, on a certain day, the sun still illuminates those statues. It does.
That's cool.
And actually, a crazy story, almost a story for a different day, when the Aswan Dam was built and Lake Nasser was created. Lake Nasser, by the way, is the largest man-made body of water ever. But it was going to submerge Abu Simbel. And so what they did is UNESCO, with the help of like all the countries of the world, got together and they straight up cut Abu Simbel into blocks. Big blocks. But they cut it into blocks and they moved it up.
Wow.
Same island, it's in the same place. They just moved it up.
That's unbelievable.
It was and you can't tell.
That's
you
a gargantuan
cannot
feat.
tell. It is a gargantuan feat. You can't tell at all. And they moved it up. It was a feat of engineering that Ramses himself would be impressed with. You cannot tell. I can't believe that they did it. It's insane that they did it.
When did this happen?
That's the 1960s.
Oh, wow.
When this happened. Insane. Huge feat of engineering. Huge feat. And, by the way, right next to it, just to the right of Abu Simbel, is the temple to Nefertari that he built for her. Because he loved her so much.
Aww.
Above the temple of Nefertari, by the way, her statues are the same height as Ramses' statues. That's unheard of in the ancient world.
Wow.
He clearly respected her and loved her a great deal. But above the door, when you go in, says, for Nefertari, for whom the sun shines.
No, he's a romantic.
Isn't that amazing? It says that to this day, you know, for whom the sun shines.
And just below it, it says, "And I will never leave my underwear on the doorknob."
Yeah.
Man, I need to get me a husband like that.
There you go.
Well, if you ever thought that you've given, like, the perfect gift, I mean, Ramses always tops you, right?
I mean,
Carving a temple out of the fucking living rock.
edible arrangements are a close second. Which brings me to our ad break. When you gotta send somebody some flowers, but you'd rather it be pineapple, that's what you do. Anyway, back to the show.
I like that it was an ad for edible arrangements in general.
Yeah.
Not a specific brand.
I thought that was the company.
Edible, is that a name of a company?
That's the name of the company.
LLC.
Yes, that's funny. Yes, I thought, though.
So,
Google it and find whatever one's the cheapest. I don't care.
so Ramses had a lot of kids. He had a lot of sons. He had over 50 sons.
Not a
at least.
one named Ramses. Because that was reserved for his Trans Am.
Right.
Transamses.
Transamses?
Trans Ramses.
Solid gold Trans Am.
Yeah.
Drives around playing like
Foghat.
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 Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or Sister Christian.
Yeah, yeah.
By Night
Oh.
Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Night
That's what I
Ranger.
Motorin'. Anyway.
And he yells motoring out the car window.
Yeah, he rolls it down, he plays it real loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the only part of the song he knows. It's just
Oh, yeah.
motor and
Yeah.
it kind
Yeah.
of goes.
He's like, hold on, guys. This is my favorite part.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, he's way Alfred Molina.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Ramses had, again, a lot of children. He had a couple of kids of note. His son that was supposed to be his successor,
Nixon.
his name was Amun Her Kepchef, which means Amun is strong in his arm. I've also heard Amun is strong in the sword.
Ooh.
I can
Both
see
make
that.
sense.
I can see how that can mean. Yeah.
It was a bit of a Baraka. He had sword arms.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
He could do a spin move. He could do a dicey move.
Yeah.
Spit acid. Does he spit acid?
That's Reptile.
No, but this guy did.
But my favorite one of Ramses II's sons is Khayyam Wasset. Khayyam Wasset.
Kyle Wassett?
Khayyam Wasset. He was Wasset, meaning he was a priest of Wasset, which is Thebes.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
He was the high priest of Thebes, and he was the first Egyptologist and the first archaeologist in recorded history.
Sounds like it was some nepotism got him that job.
There was. Well, what it was is that he was afraid that
We all are.
that everyone was going to forget about who built the pyramids. Because the pyramids are already 1,000 years old, and he goes, people these days, kids these days don't know who built the pyramids.
They don't
Yeah.
know shit.
People are just forgetting.
So there was weed back then, because I feel like that revelation is a weed like he's smoking a
He
drink
hit
and
the
like,
blunt.
what if nobody remembers this? Someone's got to keep track of all this shit, man.
So what he did, though, is he went and he labeled all of the pyramids. So if you go to the pyramids of Giza now, you'll see stelas in front. And, people pass by them and they think that they're from the time. No. They're from 1,000 years later. Khayyam Wasset put those there. He labeled
shit.
all of them. He was the first one to make, museum signs.
Yeah.
He
in front of
invented the
things.
label maker.
Yeah, basically.
He got out his touch and just started just labeling everything.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
Which
have
is
put price
amazing.
tags on them.
There's a lot of things we wouldn't know without him.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, good for him, then.
Yeah.
Been talking a lot of shit.
But his 13th son would actually be his successor.
Can't believe he can keep track at that point.
Yeah, well, he has a whole place where all of his sons are listed.
Can you, write this down? Because fucking...
Yeah, they're all listed, and there's a shit ton of them.
He's just I'd like to think it's in front of the toilet, and he's sitting there.
It's like, he's on the John.
Yeah, and he's looking at.
He did have a bathroom.
Well, I mean, it's
And
good.
he had an indoor bathroom.
It's good to be the king.
Not always.
Yeah, it's true.
To, kill you.
It didn't have a closing door, so
had a beaded curtain.
It's like taking a shit at Lava Lounge.
Yeah.
Lava lounge, yeah.
You know it's bad when the curtains are rumbling. But yeah, he looks at his list of sons and he goes, "That one, 73. What's he doing?"
Okay, now I've heard this pronounced a few different ways, but his 13th son would actually be his successor, the one that came after Ramesses II. Merneptah, I believe is how it's pronounced, or Merneptah. I don't really know. Anyway, I'm sure I'll get somebody telling me who.
People love to correct pronunciation.
Yeah,
it's like their main thing.
It's their main thing. It's
Welcome to making a history podcast.
Things that don't make things that doesn't matter. Yeah, they like to correct me on. Anyway, but he had a whole underground tomb built, and I guess it's 2 levels, two levels underground, and people that have been inside say that it's disorienting because there's so many rooms and covered in hieroglyphs. Mm-hmm. But so many rooms, fucking pitch black down there. So you're down there, think about, the first people that found this shit. Mm-hmm. They're walking down there with a candle, and they're like, oh, fuck, there's more dead bodies in here.
We're gonna get so cursed.
You got a torch, and you're waving it away because there's bats. And then
probably not bats. Is it sealed? Sealed in there?
Okay, fine. Then you turn, and there's, a bunch of... You're like, oh, that wall, that's a shiny wall. Oh, it's a bunch of scarabs. They go away, and then you find, a jewel. I don't know.
But by the way, thing about scarabs is they symbolized existence. And the most common piece of jewelry we find, because they traded all things scarab all around, so we find them in Greece. They symbolized existence. So you would exist, you'd be alive. And a lot of people had those. The most rare thing they almost never find is the Ankh.
Oh, really?
Almost never find that.
And
it was for the gods. It was for the gods.
Yeah.
It was not for common people.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until the early 90s when all the goth kids started rocking the Ankh tattoos and everything.
Well, it's mentioned a lot on the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see pictures
They just
of
didn't
gods.
have a lot of 17-year-old girls who have a friend with a tattoo gun back then.
Now, Nefertari, she died around the 20th year of his rule, and a lot of people link things, because around the 20th year of his rule, a lot of things happened. That's when they signed the peace treaty, around that time.
Pretty young.
Fairly young. And it's also where he sort of stopped doing military campaigns. He started getting softer, I guess. Not
weaker.
Not weaker, just
a little pudgy.
He didn't want to. He didn't want to go into battle anymore.
It's like a mini bone.
He's fucking tired, man.
Well, a lot of people think that it's because he lost his wife. Maybe that's why he signed the peace treaty.
Yeah.
He didn't sign it, but he agreed to it. And maybe all these things, because having that many children and having all these wives, he must have experienced death constantly, especially if he lived
A lot of those kids probably died.
Yeah, at least to 90. Some people say he lived to 88. Some people say he lived, 92, 93. So I'll say 90. That splits the difference, right? He lived very old, especially in that time. A lot of his kids died. Mm-hmm. Maybe at least 20 a year died. At least. Somebody he knew died,
He knows too many people.
Yeah, and so he sort of has this... He changes.
Well, I'd like to think that everything that he was doing to impress some chick. And then when she died, he was like, "Oh, well, fuck it."
Sounds like literally what happened. Yeah,
no more Nefertari.
Yeah.
So he's starts eating Cheez-Its and watching Masked Singer.
I bet this one's Robert De Niro.
Yeah. It's not Robert De Niro. It's fucking Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
It's pretty good too.
Anyway, I love that show, by the way.
We'll get into that, yeah.
If you want to talk about that, join us on Beers with the Boys, and we will talk. If you want to talk about Masked Singer, I'm more than willing. We will do that on Beers with the Boys.
I'm going to just real quickly an aside. The topic for next Beers with the Boys will be it's trash, but it's my trash.
Oh yeah,
because we did movies.
We did kind of do that.
We did that with specifically movies. We're going to crack that wide open.
That's actually a very good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yep. Back to the history.
Okay. She died, Nefertari, she died right after the dedication of her temple at Abu Simbel It was either on the trip or just after or just before. You know, it was right around that time, though. He was absolutely heartbroken. And you can tell that the tomb that he built for her, which is one of the most, if not the most, beautiful tomb in all of Egypt, it's painted white. Not a lot of tombs are painted white, but it's painted a white background, and all of, you know, it's carved very beautifully, painted very beautifully. And there's no mention inside the tomb of Ramses himself. It's all to Nefertari.
That
it's
is amazing.
It truly is, especially considering who this guy is. He's an egomaniac in a lot of ways.
I mean, despite the fact that he only put down the primer coat and then got lazy, big ups on him for not mentioning himself at all.
Yeah. And, of course, she's buried in the Valley of the Queens, which is a later name that was...
So they dump all the queens, yeah.
RuPaul's going to be buried over there.
I was like, did that sound homophobic? It wasn't.
Usually in... so when the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens was discovered, there was, you know, archaeologists went around and numbered all of them. Thank God they did, because it was so hard to keep track.
From best to worst.
They ranked them.
No.
They're like, BuzzFeed's going to be a thing someday, guys.
She's buried in QV 66.
Okay.
You know, Queens Valley 66. Tomb number 66.
So are they all KVQV?
Yes.
Okay.
Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens.
And she's 66?
She's 66.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Step on a scorpion on the side of the highway or something. I feel like whenever it's Route 66, it's always something. It's like there's like a scorpion, and then like cowboy boot steps on it, and it's like a cool guy smoking a cigarello.
Yeah, and he's got like mirrored aviators on it or
Grape
something.
swisher.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a black and mild.
By the way, I googled the word root, and the first thing that came up was Route 66. But I think your phone's listened to you.
You should get your kicks over there.
That's where I get my kicks.
Yeah.
Sure.
I get mine at Queens Valley 66.
So he ruled for a long time. 67 years. Which is a long time.
It's a good
Way
run.
too long.
Well, the thing is, in ancient Egypt, if there's a ruler, generally speaking, that rules for a very long time, things start to go downhill a little bit. And that's because, you know, they're not as involved in a lot of things. They're old. Not a lot of people are as well versed in administration, right? So any successor afterwards is like inherits sort of a ghost house. You know what I mean? They're like, there's a bunch of cobwebs everywhere. I got to clean all this shit up. You know,
And start all over from scratch.
Well,
pretty much.
you know, it works so well for him, but you're not him.
Yeah.
You know, you're not Ramses.
Well, the other thing is,
fucking
regardless
great.
of like how well they did, which they must have done okay if they're living so long.
Yeah.
But like just them ruling for so long, there's a big shoes to fill.
Yes.
No matter how good at ruling they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like people have grown up, become adults and died, but in your entire reign.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. People have lived and died in your reign. You know, they've only ever known one king.
Right.
You know, so it's hard. It's hard for somebody to take over after that. You know, so you always see you don't see a decline right after Ramses, but it does go into decline after Ramses. It's not instant.
Should have term limits.
But it drops off. And the thing about him is we learn a lot from his mummy. We learn a lot because we learn that he was a cripple. He died crippled because he was like 90 years old.
Polio.
Well, there was one
kidding,
there was one king that did have polio, and it's not Tutankhamun. It's not the one you think, but there was one that was pretty much crippled from the get-go.
FDR. Yeah.
I was going to say wheelchairs back then were just so exquisite.
By the way, there's a documentary that just says wheelchair president. And it's like, that's kind of shitty to call FDR the wheelchair president.
It's very
It's
diminutive.
mean. Yeah. It's reductive.
They
in a lot of ways.
Reductive.
They forget about all of his mental powers. Oh, wait, no, I got FDR mixed up with Professor Xavier again.
Yeah. He did have mental powers, but they weren't as strong. Because he didn't have cerebro.
He was.
Yeah.
He was a patriarch of America. He really was. Anyway, that's a story for a different day. But we also find that he had horrible teeth. And all the mummies we find in ancient Egypt had horrible teeth.
That is not shocking.
There's a reason why.
There is.
It's because the mills that they made for grinding grain were made out of sandstone.
Well, it was rock.
Yeah.
It was stone.
So
Every time you ground up things, you get a bit of stone in there.
so you're eating little bits of rock every time you're eating bread,
Yeah,
and it
so-
grinds down your teeth.
Yeah, and you live in a desert environment, and
so-
there's sand in your food that's inescapable.
Yeah.
And so all of them are basically sanding down their teeth, and it exposes the pulp. And so they, they all have really bad teeth.
Ouch.
He had a massive infection in his mandible, in his jaw. Massive infection. Must have been incredibly painful. Must have been.
Could never be in a good mood with that.
But
Yeah.
opium existed?
Certain things that are natural painkillers did exist, but honestly, not enough.
Yeah, I would.
If you ask me, like, if I had the same infection he did, the stuff that they had to treat that is simply not enough. Is simply not enough.
I thought you were going to say a bullet to the head.
Yeah. Well, and
It's a modern solution.
That might actually lend some credence to, the decline of his ability to administrate pain management.
You are absolutely correct. And this is something that we see throughout history. If somebody has, usually to do with the teeth, if somebody has a really bad abscess or something going on with the teeth, it does affect their ability to rule. It does.
Looking at Joe Biden's chompers just gives me hope for the future.
We have dentistry.
What was the guy from? I think it was Mexican Revolution had
Yeah.
fucked
yeah.
up teeth. I remember us talking about how
Huerta, I believe.
Yeah.
I think Huerta. It was
Yeah.
Huerta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
we're talking
really
about
bad
grumpy.
teeth.
Tyler talks. I think said he had a bee in his bonnet. If I
Well, who wouldn't? With teeth like that.
It's true. It's true. Makes it hard. He also had red hair. We can tell that. And the thing is it's crazy seeing the face of somebody that could have existed in the Bible.
Here we go.
Now, let me tell you. A lot of people think. Not everyone. Everyone disagrees. Again, everyone disagrees on Egypt. A lot of people think that Ramesses II was the king, the pharaoh. Of Egypt. And by the way, around this time, they didn't call their king Pharaoh. Not really. Pharaoh is a compound word in Egyptian. It means great house.
Okay.
That's what it means. The one who lives in the great house is the Pharaoh, right? Is the king, right? But they had a lot of names, different names for king. They didn't really use Pharaoh until later, after this. There's a lot of things about Exodus that are interesting. So we all pretty much know the story, but let me just kind of go through it in the way that the Old Testament explains.
Moses.
In the north, there were a Semitic people, the children of Israel, of Jacob, called Israel, right, which existed much earlier, right, because Joseph, with his fancy-ass Technicolor dream coat,
Which is real.
There is record for that, because Joseph was vizier, the viceroy of Egypt.
Do you have one of those sticks with the snake and the spooky eyes?
Well, let's get
Aladdin?
to that. Let's get to that. There is precedence for this.
That's crazy.
Real historic precedence for this. Now, let me say, before we begin talking about Exodus, we found a lot of archaeological evidence that supports a lot of events that happen in the Bible. A lot of them. We found a lot of archaeological evidence that supports it. For Exodus, we found nothing. Okay, not really anything that says this
actually
really happened.
Yeah.
You know, not enough.
Are you sure? Because I'm looking here on Apple Music, and there's Bounded by Blood and the Toxic Waltz, and then there were none. We're talking about Exodus the band, right?
No.
Okay.
I prefer Genesis the band.
Now.
I prefer Revelations. The
Hey, I'm sure that's a band.
Oh yeah, it's got to be at least a theme. Anyway,
Four kids from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They got masks.
So the story goes, and I'm really not going to get into why the quote-unquote Israelites are there. Story for a different day. But it's not reasonable to believe that a baby was in the water and an Egyptian princess took that baby out of the water and then started speaking Hebrew and gave it a Hebrew name. That's not reasonable to assume that. And it's bad etymology to say that Moses means to draw out of. You know, draw out of, right? Take
Right.
out of the water. It's not reasonable to believe that an Egyptian princess would do that. Moses is an Egyptian name, purely Egyptian. Purely. And what it means is birth, or to be born, or to be son of somebody,
Okay.
right? So, like Ramses, it's actually Ra Moses. Ra's born. Or I'm the son of Ra.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was a god. He was a living god. And the only...
It's raw osmosis.
Right.
Rasmosus Jones.
the only society where everyone really actually truly believed that their ruler was truly a god in every religious sense. Now, there's been other societies where they say, I'm a living god and stuff, but they didn't believe it in the same way as they did in Egypt.
Did anyone ever believe that? Or were they just like, yeah, sure, of course, yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing, is in Egypt they did.
Okay.
They did. And so when you have that, you have a certain amount of deference that goes with that, right? So the thing is yeah, he was named Moses. That is purely Egyptian, right? Purely Egyptian. And, of course, raised by the Egyptian royal court. And oddly enough, in Exodus it says that his wet nurse was his own mother. His own mother. His real mother.
Okay.
Which is
Yeah.
really
A stretch.
coincidental.
Yeah.
you know. But, you know, he goes away for a long time and he comes back. And a lot of people say, well, if it's Ramses, you know, couldn't be his daughter because he comes back at 80.
Yeah.
And that would make Ramses incredibly old at that point.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this, because when when Moses is talking to Pharaoh, they don't say the Pharaoh. Pharaoh
say
is
Pharaoh.
all they call him. They're in the Nile Delta, so they're in the north. That's where Ramses' capital
So that
was.
part lines up.
And they also call it Pi Ramses.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, if this was written, and it would have to have been, right? If this was written really far in the future from Exodus, which it was, no doubt, they could have called Pi Ramses Tanis, because it was later named Tanis, but they don't. It's interesting. That's an interesting detail.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it proves anything. I'm just saying it's an interesting detail.
Welcome to the Atheist Cast. Your Bible's dumb.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
No.
But
It's never a thing that we're trying to say.
no. But the thing is yes, these cities, every city we talk about, like we already talked about Thebes and stuff, it's anachronistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it did go by many names, but it's interesting that they went with this name, right?
Yeah.
It's upsetting that the cartoon documentary I watched on
With Val Kilmer as Moses.
yeah don't mention any of these things.
They had pretty good songs, though.
They did.
Now, if you remember, the first time that Moses speaks to God,
The burning bush.
he was in the form of a burning bush. And God basically tells Moses, hey, you're going to liberate the children of Israel from the yoke of the Egyptians. Because the thing is the first part of Exodus, right, is the Israelites in bondage. They're slaves.
Right.
But
We
think
have
about
no-
symbolism. Red bush. Ramses, red hair. Probably the carpet matched the drapes. I'm just saying. I'm just putting together the pieces here.
Well, the thing is he says, Moses, you're going to liberate the children of Israel from Egypt because they were slaves, right? By the way, we have no evidence that there were slaves, or that the Israelites were slaves at all. So what happened? Like a lot of people think, from the movies, that there were slaves building the pyramids.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
They had cities. They had cities built around all of these work sites where they were treated well.
Yeah.
They were a workforce.
They were all unions and all good to go.
Pretty much, honestly, that's not that far of a stretch.
Are you? Fuck
So,
me!
no, I'm
Wow.
not kidding. Like
There were
they
unions,
took
no
care of
billionaires.
these people.
It was great.
They
But
had a godhead, though.
well,
Take your druthers, I guess.
But yeah, no, I think
exactly.
it was commonly thought for a really long time that slaves built the pyramids.
Yeah.
And then I think it
not true.
was later updated to be that there were contractors There were workmen who knew how to do these kind of structures.
The government hired a lot of people, basically.
Yeah.
And every king, every pharaoh was always building something. So there's always people employed to do these things.
It was like
craftsmen.
it was the New Deal.
Employed by the government?
Yes, yeah. Employed
Sounds like
by
socialism to me.
So when do the Pleiadians and the other aliens come into
They were
play?
Anunnaki?
They were already there.
Yeah.
The Anunnaki, that's
Well,
right.
you're thinking of the 18th dynasty with the...
Actually.
Yeah,
Actually, the aliens showed up during the 18th dynasty,
yeah.
not the 19th.
Yeah, with Akhenaten. That's the one they really think is the alien guy. Anyway.
Okay.
How about people are awesome and we can build cool shit and we don't need a bunch of fucking spacemen to fucking make that happen?
It took so long.
Yeah.
It took so long. Look, it's so old. All this stuff is so old that it's even hard for us to wrap our heads around. Like, it's hard to wrap our heads around time.
Well, just, yeah, the
Does
fact
anyone
of,
have
like,
any Yo Mama So Old jokes?
the one thing to wrap your head around the idea, you and I talked about this a lot, where it's like, from the time between now and Cleopatra is isn't it about the same as Cleopatra, or the pyramids, or the pyramids are even older?
Yeah, our connection to Cleopatra, the time in between us and Cleopatra, is closer than the time of building the pyramids to Cleopatra.
Yeah, so
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's how old we're talking here. This is old. Again, in Ramses' time, if we look back 1,000 years, we're looking at the Middle Ages, buddies.
But
so much has changed.
I thought the Earth was only 3,000 years old.
It's 5,000.
5,000, I'm sorry.
And once again, welcome to the
3,000
Atheist
BC.
Podcast. Take that Bible, throw it in the trash. We got real stuff happening.
I'm not trying to talk shit about the Bible.
No.
Again,
Once again, none of us are.
one of our overarching things on this podcast
Summer
is
Charter.
like and believe what you would like, if that makes you happy.
I thought you were going to say like and subscribe. Thank you.
No, that's not what I said.
like and subscribe to what makes you happy.
Leave a comment.
And if you like this podcast,
all I'm saying is that, Chris and Tyler really like Marvel movies. That's fucking fantastic. You know what? I also like fucking McDonald's.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. You like what you like, and like it to the hilt, to the full extent.
As long as it doesn't hurt anyone.
yeah,
As long as it doesn't hurt anyone, it's fine.
And as long as it's consensual.
Exactly.
I think those
That's
overlap, but yeah.
Just make sure we say that.
I gotta stop feeding my wife McDonald's when she's asleep.
It's weird on its
You like it when you're awake.
I've been slipping McDonald's into her food.
with a syringe.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
blend it up.
And then I reduce it.
Yeah.
It's a single drop that has 4,000 calories.
No, but God tells Moses in the burning bush that he's going to, free the Israelites, and he's like, "How am I going to do that, God? How am I going to do that?" And he goes, "Dude, your staff, man. You got a staff, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes,
Make
"Throw
it
that."
magic.
He goes, "Throw that shit on the ground." And he does, and it turns into a cobra, and it slithers away.
Just like Jafar
Right?
in Aladdin.
So the staff he's holding is a callback to this. That's how old that imagery. That's how old that imagery is.
Huh.
Now let me get back to this. But he actually does one trick that he doesn't use, which is strange. But he goes, "Hey, pull out your hand," and he shows the burning bush god his hand, and it becomes leprous, and he puts it in his cloak, and he takes it out, and it's healed.
Oh, that's cool.
But he never does that at any other points. Anyway, he goes.
The severed hand that he had was already rotten by the time he went to the next town.
He didn't pour the Resident Evil med juice on it.
Juice on it. Yeah. It was, or it was somebody else's hand, like Zach's third ball.
Yeah.
That's true.
That they walk around with and claim as their own.
Yeah, let it hang out to intimidate your friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's like, he even tells God, like, I'm not a good speaker. I'm not a good public speaker. And he goes, "You can go with your brother Aaron. And you can, Aaron. And you can go to the Pharaoh and you can tell him that you're going to be visited by 10 plagues."
Oh no.
Right? And
All
the thing
10?
is, and he goes to the Pharaoh. and he says, you're gonna have this, and this.
Frogs
he
and
says,
shit.
Frogs, mosquitoes, boils. The Nile will turn red with blood.
Metal.
All
That
that
time
kind
of
of
the
stuff.
month.
It'll be night during the day. So all that stuff can be explained by natural phenomena.
Yeah, like the eclipse.
No, a sandstorm, which is way more frequent than an eclipse.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say way more
But
freaky.
there are eclipses.
There are.
Eclipses?
Don't get me wrong, but an eclipse is hard to predict back in the day.
And if you want to spook an ancient person, just throw an eclipse at them.
Yeah.
They always think it's like a portent to something or somebody special's getting born. I've read some fantasy novels. I know what's going on. Eclipses, comets, all that stuff that's just the universe just farting. They're like, oh my god, this means something.
Nothing means anything.
Welcome to the Atheist Podcast. No? Okay, I'm sorry.
And the Nile turning red, so they have rains in Ethiopia where the Nile headwaters are.
The rain's down in Africa.
Yeah. And what it does is it washes a lot of red topsoil. So Egypt had 3 seasons, and one season was inundation, is what it was called. It's where the Nile flooded.
It's like monsoon season.
Sort of, but it rarely rains there. It rarely rains. So they would have, occasionally, they would have these downpours. These downpours would straight up hide tombs.
Oh,
It's why tombs would get suddenly lost.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
when you said hide, I was gonna say corpses, tombs, corpses.
Yeah, you're not
tombs
wrong.
have corpses.
Well, so
I'm a
like
historian.
big boulders and rocks come from the mountains, and they get lodged inside the opening of these temples. So they get totally lost, and they're covered with sand. They get totally lost to time because of these downpours that they have and sandstorms. But all the stuff, all the first 9 plagues, those are all explained by natural phenomena. Stuff that happened all the time, especially in the Nile Delta in the north, lower Egypt in the north there. And the thing is too is what's really surprising about it is it doesn't make the pharaoh mad. He doesn't ever say, "Oh well, it flooded, so I guess you're right."
He
doesn't do
floods
that.
all the time.
Yeah, mosquitoes. Yeah, there's a lot of mosquitoes. Frogs. Yeah, there's a lot of frogs. Things like this. The snake staff trick. So this is an old snake charmer trick.
Okay.
So what you do is you squeeze a snake in a certain way. You're probably choking it.
Yeah.
It's not a nice thing to do, but it will turn rigid. It'll turn rigid, and you carry it around like that.
Been there.
And you can throw it on the ground, and it'll slither away. And you can also tie it in a knot and wear it as a hat, which looks like the King Tut's crown had the pharaoh and the vulture on it, Upper and Lower Egypt, pharaoh and the cobra and the vulture. It's the same. It's sort of reminiscent of that, isn't it?
Egypt, they were way down. They were way down with abusing snakes.
Yeah.
Like that's
Especially extremely poisonous
bashing
snakes.
yeah, they're like, oh, you're a cobra? Don't mind if I tie you into a sword and give it to a kid at his birthday party.
It's a clown. Oh god, Freckles is his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, none of the pharaoh's priests are impressed with the snake trick. They do it too, right?
Yeah, they all know how to do it.
well, the thing is, the impressive part in the Old Testament is that his snake, Moses' snake, it's actually Aaron's staff too, but Moses' snake, Moses' snake eats the others,
Right.
and that's what's so impressive about it, right?
He eats all the other staffs or all the other snakes?
All the
Well,
other snakes.
Yes and yes.
Okay, well.
Anyway,
Don't you remember in the cartoon movie where like the 2 magicians, they throw down their snake? They're like, oh, that's all bullshit. We can do the same thing.
yeah.
And they throw down their snakes, and then like it cuts to everyone's faces in shock and horror because Moses' snake ate 2 of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens in the Old Testament. The Pharaoh isn't moved by the first 9 plagues. It's the 10th plague that bugs him. The last one.
Death
And what
of the
that
firstborn.
Blue screen
Yes.
of death.
That's what it is.
Yes.
So Moses comes to the Pharaoh and he says, the firstborn of everything, cows, goats, everything, firstborn of everything is going to die. And he's like, oh, okay, that's a little bit more troubling. And the thing is they took goat's blood, the Israelites, and they made symbol above the doors, and the angel of the Lord came down and passed them over the ones that had the blood above their doors. And this is Passover.
Right.
Still celebrated
Learned
to this
about
day.
this in Rugrats.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
really?
there's an episode where they do that.
No
whole thing.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
A baby's got to do what a baby's got to do.
Smear goat's blood all over.
Yeah.
It's actually Tommy Pickles'
Fucking
shit.
metal. Yeah. Now, if I'm rubbing goat's blood on stuff, I'm worshiping Satan. Yeah.
Used to
But-
just be what you did.
Yeah.
It was like the cool thing to do.
According to the Old Testament, the firstborns die except for the Israelites, and this is what sways the Pharaoh and says, "Okay, you can go." Now, let's look at where they are. If you're looking at a map, they're up in the Nile Delta, and Sinai is just over, right?
Right.
The Red Sea is not in the way. It's not in the way, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the thing is that there's just more bad etymology, and they separated. Basically, they divided the reeds. It's a swamp.
Yeah.
They divided the reeds, and that's how they got through. And the Pharaoh, changing his mind about letting them leave, chased them with his chariots, and then the chariots got all mucked up in the mud, right?
Sounds about right.
In the swamp of the Nile Delta, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. There is, by the way, the story of parting the waters,
Right.
that's an Egyptian story. So in the Old Kingdom, there was a great king. I think it was Snefru. Snefru is the one that started building the
It's
temples.
pretty funny sounding, yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
It's hilarious, and I can't think of any jokes to go with it.
It's just a funny name.
Yeah.
But there's a story where the Pharaoh's passing by this girl, and she's crying because she has lost her valuable bracelet in the water. And he goes, "Well, I'm the Pharaoh. I'll just give you a new one." And she goes, No. This was my bracelet. It's I've had it for a long time." And so what he does is he calls a magician over, and the magician parts the waters, and he picks the bracelet out of the water and gives it back to the girl.
Water magnets.
And this legend, this myth, is 1,000 years old by this point. 1,000 years old by this point.
Yeah.
Not even anywhere near the New Kingdom.
Yeah.
Or even Middle Kingdom.
And,
Okay.
and just like everything, it just gets recycled and rolled
Yep,
into
exactly.
everything. Okay, I get it now.
Exactly. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying this is an enduring myth.
Right.
Joseph Campbell made up mythology in like 1,000,000 BC, and now we all just do that thing.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Right? Like, it's
Yeah.
just the same, fucking go into the cave, get the potion or whatever.
Now the
Yeah, that sums it up.
Pretty much.
now the Bible says that 600,000 men left in the Exodus. Didn't count families. It says not counting families.
So it was just dudes. It was a sausage.
Just
festival.
men and their families. And so if you were to do some loose math and approximate, you got a wife, you got maybe 1 or 2 kids or whatever. If you do that, you're looking at anywhere between 2 and 3 million people leaving in the Exodus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's certainly bullshit. And
Yeah.
the reason why is because the population of Egypt at this time is maybe 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
It's bullshit that even 600,000 people left.
So it's
Now-
like 15 people.
If it happened, we're talking maybe 600, maybe
Okay.
60, maybe a couple of big families left.
Sure.
And that's why no one else writes about it. Like, the Egyptians don't write about it because it would have been viewed as a defeat. And
Yeah.
the Egyptians won every battle if you just listen to them, right?
Yeah.
So they don't write it down, and that's not surprising. But no one else cared about it either. Like look in the Middle East when the American Revolution was happening. You're not going to find much because they
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with them.
It has nothing to do with them. So the Israelites leaving Egypt also has nothing to do with anybody.
So
Right.
yeah, so let's say if 5,000 people leave, they're just like, bye.
Well, and the thing is, if that amount of people did leave, that's why we think it's more around 600, maybe even 60.
Yeah.
If that amount of people left, there would be evidence.
Yeah.
If 600,000 people certainly walked in the same direction at the same time,
You could dig in the sand and find poop.
there would be evidence.
Right.
There would be evidence. Well, there would be pots, pans. There'd be all sorts of shit you could
Bart
find.
Simpson t-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Don't have a cow, man.
They've never
Cool your jets.
found anything. anything.
I would also argue that the Egyptians would, if that many people left all in one go, they would write about how it would tank their economy and how shit was all fucked up, you know?
Well, and the Bible sort of makes that claim, too.
Right.
Because there is a drop-off, and people go, well, Ramses, a drop-off after Ramses, this makes sense. It's for other reasons. They also say...
There's bad teeth.
They also say that the Israelites worked in brick and not stone, which is proof that they didn't work on the monuments, right?
Right.
That's all in stone.
Right.
So they made bricks. These are more temporary shelters that no longer exist. And you make bricks with straw.
Yeah.
It's like if you think of
It's like plaster.
like fiberglass.
Yeah.
You put layers of fiberglass and it makes it stronger, right?
Yeah.
So
It's mud and straw.
it puts fibers in there to make it stronger so that you make bricks out of it. And they still do it to this day. They make bricks the same way in this day if you go down there. There were people that looked for bricks that were made without straw because the Pharaoh first tells Moses, well, we're going to cut off your straw supply, but you still have a quota of making bricks. So some people thought, well, let's look for bricks without straw. That's silly. And the reason why it's silly is because it's not that they kept making bricks without straw, because the bricks wouldn't last without straw. Mm-hmm. The fact is they had to cut their own straw. It made it harder. It made it harder to do, right? So we won't provide you with the straw anymore. You got to cut your own straw, and you still have the same quota as you already had.
That sounds exhausting.
Right. So honestly, that aspect is probably the truest thing that is in Exodus, because that's not denoting servitude.
Yeah.
That's not denoting slavery.
Sure.
That's denoting a pharaoh that is mad at a certain group of people. And keep in mind, when
That's
Moses
never happened before.
when Moses first went to the pharaoh, he said, "I want 3 days off for a religious ceremony that have nothing to do with your religion." And the pharaoh was like, "No. In fact, because you asked me and you're celebrating a different fucking religion, I'm taking away your straw."
Whoa.
Very
Yeah.
mean.
It's more likely that it's that, right? It's
He was
more
going to
likely.
have a barbecue.
So this totally does make sense. Again, it being unions and workers and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they had a strike.
It was a union strike.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a union strike, and then they decided to get the fuck out of Dodge.
And there was like 5 guys.
Burgers and fries?
There's
Yeah.
probably a few families, a few
Yeah.
big families.
Yeah.
But
5
nowhere
families.
near 600.
Burgers and
But I
fries.
mean, you think about it, it's a tall tale. You know, fish gets bigger every single
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
you talk
Yeah.
about it, right? So, yeah. And a lot of people think that it was Merneptah, Ramses II's successor, that was the king during the Exodus, because he has a stela that says all the places that he has laid waste. And he goes, the people of Canaan are done. And he goes, you know, the people of these, they're totally done.
//
Yeah, but when he says, he goes, the people of, he goes, the Israelites are
TBA.
he says something about how, like, their seed is not.
Okay.
But the symbol he makes for the Israelites is not the same symbol for city
Yeah.
or place. He makes a symbol for people.
Mm-hmm.
So what that tells us, that's a great detail. What that tells us is that they're still wandering, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're still wandering. So, if they're still wandering, then you go back, simple math, you go backwards, the only other king it could have been was Ramses II, right?
Yeah.
There will be people that disagree with me on this, I totally know, that's fine.
We're going to hear about it in the comments.
That's a story for a different day,
Please disagree with us in the comments. We love it.
It helps out the algorithm.
but he was talking about fighting a people,
Yeah.
not a country, and that's important. It's very important because it does tell us where the Israelites are as a people, right?
Yeah, like where they are on his radar.
Exactly.
Right.
And he uses the symbol for people and not like
Town or...
Yeah, not a town, you know, not the same for like Canaan. Canaan's already there, you know. He doesn't
He
use
got
the same
him.
symbol. He uses these they use these hills, which means like country
Yeah.
or place, you know, a foreign place, foreign land, hills. He
They
does
didn't
not
have-
use that for the Israelites.
They didn't have 3-point perspective yet. It's the best they could do.
If the Exodus happened, a lot of people think it was Ramesses the Great that was the pharaoh, and the pharaoh's heart was hardened well, Yahweh, the God,
Yeah.
God says that he's going to do it.
Yeah.
He's going to harden the Pharaoh's heart. So it's sort of a test of their resolve, I guess.
That's the guy from Indiana Jones 3 when he's.
I'm actually surprised you didn't say Yul Brenner.
Oh well, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went with Yahweh, and then he steps on the thing, and then he realizes it's like the different
He
letter.
needs to be the penitent man.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
has to roll underneath the saw blades.
You know what?
So as I mentioned before, mummification was very expensive, and you had different levels of mummification. Right? You
gotta
had
get
the
the platinum.
econo. You
Yeah.
had the econo line.
Yeah,
you know?
that one's the one that's like it's bandage like.
Yeah.
It's used TP is what
We
it
got
is.
some gauze pads, and we'll slap a couple of those
The
bad boys on you.
Corinthian leather fucking bandages.
Because it's unclear as to where the god is actually going to pick you up.
It's like Uber.
It is whether it's Thebes
You're like, I'm down
whether
the
it's somewhere
road.
else.
And he
Yeah.
makes you come over there.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
I'm
mean, if
paying
you're
you,
on his
man.
bus line, he's gonna get you.
Well, the thing is yeah, it's hard to move
Bring a book.
between the two places. So what you do, like pharaohs even did this. They had a tomb in both spots, and they had a false burial in one spot, and then like a real burial in another.
Because tricking the gods was hella cool.
Yeah, it was, and totally accepted. Like
Super funny.
you could straight up send a statue of yourself, a little statue of yourself, to a tomb to see if you could get you could get on the off chance that the god is like, oh, this guy's here.
You got
Come on in, buddy. You know? And also, you would make offerings to the gods, and this was an industry where there would be there'd be antelopes. There would be baboons. Baboons sometimes were pets. Cats. You would do this where you would buy a cat mummy,
Oh,
and you would take it down to the cat head god, and you would give it as an offering.
like Bast,
right?
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. And by the way, you don't worship cats in general. Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well,
But
because
it's
the
a-
parasite that's in your brain that
Yeah.
the cats give off.
It's
That's why
I
you worship
absolutely have that. But it's a misnomer.
Toxoplasmosis.
It's a misnomer that people just worship cats.
Yeah.
They didn't. They worshipped a cat god. And actually, there's a whole cemetery of cat mummies. Thousands of them. Thousands. The thing is all the cats are young, and all of them died violently.
Oh wow.
They're about a year old, and all of them, their necks were wrung, or they were hit on the head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to make a cat mummy, as an offering. So basically, it's like a tourist trap. Like, hey, you want a cat mummy to get an offering? And they're like, oh, hell yeah, how much?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bast loves these things.
They're like this cat graveyard isn't gonna make itself. Let's get to work, boys.
Yeah.
That's fucking disgusting.
Well, and what's even more disgusting is that there were some, like, hucksters, like a Soapy Smith style character,
Yeah.
that was just selling, like, a bag full of bones. Like chicken bones. Like table scraps.
I
Right.
swear it's cats.
Yeah, well, or antelope.
Yeah.
He
Because
didn't let the
they
cat out
found
of the bag.
when they x-rayed these or unwrapped some of these, they found that these are just bones of a bunch of different animals. This is just food scraps,
Just a bag of bones.
and somebody
it's
just
leftovers.
got scammed,
Bast is gonna
and the
see
poor
right through
person
that.
took it down and like offered it, and it was a whole thing.
I bet they didn't even go to heaven.
No, they were not
Cat
resurrected.
heaven, I think.
Yeah, they were not resurrected. Certainly not.
That's right. This one, their resurrection.
Yeah. Now, do you guys?
I want to do that with like a PlayStation 5. Like I thought it was gonna
You wrap
PS5. It's
it
a
up.
bag full of bones.
It's a bunch of chicken bones.
Yeah, but what kind of animals do the bones come from?
Yeah.
That's the real mystery.
Well, if it's a cat, you can offer it up to Bast. But
Yeah.
if it's
Otherwise,
just random chicken bones,
You better
then-
make a new
Do they got a
religion.
chicken head god?
No.
No, they
The
don't.
thing is it was a scam.
Yeah, no, I
And
get
they
that.
told you it was a cat, or they told you it was an antelope, and it wasn't.
They were just really good at paper mache for the mummies.
Pretty much.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sounds like a lot
That's
of work.
pretty much. Cheaper. Do you guys want to know how mummification is done?
Hell yeah.
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird, because this is weird stuff. I'm going to throw out a warning to our audience. I have a hard time with this stuff, so chances are at least one of you also has a hard time with this stuff. This is pretty gruesome. I'm just gonna let you know.
We're
Pretty gruesome.
talking icky, sticky stuff.
Hell, it's sick.
Cutting up
We're
dead
about
bodies.
to get gross.
Nice.
I'm not even left-handed.
So the thing is the Egyptians, this mummification must have been like a closely guarded secret, because there's no papyri. It's not written down anywhere how to do this. It's one thing they didn't write down. It must have been either a closely guarded secret, or it was so common knowledge that they didn't find any need to write it down.
Oh, like David Lynch's Eraserhead Baby.
I would say like cooking ramen noodles.
Okay, that works too.
You know, if somebody 1,000 years from now was like, how'd they cook ramen noodles? We always thought it was so obvious that you wouldn't need to write it down.
Instant ramen, by the way, not actual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for
Instant
making
ramen.
that correction.
Insta ramen.
It is written on the package, though.
It is. But
I
say the packaging, you know what I mean.
They didn't have plastic back then. The package is all washed away.
Turn to dust.
To Trash Island.
To crumbs.
Yeah.
So, there's a few things, though, that we can tell from mummies and from what is on the walls. Because there's a couple of inscriptions that are informative. One of them shows a mummy. It shows a mummy being wrapped. And it's on 2 blocks. You're like, wow, crazy, not on a table or anything. But it makes sense. Because you put it on blocks, you don't want to have to lift the mummy up every single time you're going to pass the wrapping underneath them.
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Right? You know, so it's much easier to go around them if they're on like 2 blocks, right?
Yeah, I got
Super easy, right?
Like Ramesses Trans Am.
Exactly.
It's on 2 blocks till he fixed it up. Anyway, he had that sucker roaring. But what they also noticed is that they in the side, in the abdomen, there was a 2.5-inch incision, and this is where they got all of the viscera out of the person.
Let me know.
Okay?
Ah,
They had 4. You know those jars? They're called canopic jars.
right. Yeah.
This holds the organs, right? And they only thought that there was 4 because there was only 4 canopic jars.
It's 4 organs.
So there's 4 organs, right?
So they had glass jars.
Well, they're like
No,
it's
clay.
a pottery.
Okay,
it's
so
a pottery
they were
jar.
clay. Okay, just double checking.
Yeah. You can tell sometimes if it's a tomb or not, whether or not there's like shards of
Yeah.
canopic jars, because a lot of things were robbed.
And
That's why
none
it's so crazy that they found like Tutankhamun's tomb and it was
Yeah.
completely untouched.
Well, and not to mention,
Amazing.
like, they didn't put date dots on things back then, so you didn't know when things were going to spoil.
Yeah. Expiration dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, is not a lot of people, you know, the Dr. Bob Breyer, he was the first one to successfully mummify a human cadaver in 2,000 years.
Gross.
And I can't wait for him to get out of prison.
No, when you sell your body to medical science, they're going to do this kind of shit on you. And the thing is like, he practiced, you know, well, like, you know, your knee is going to go to a knee surgeon, you know, school, or your foot is going to go to a foot, you know. So they chop you up and they give you to different parts of the medical school.
What part of the cadaver do you need? All of it. I'm going to make it a mummy.
Yeah. He
He wrote that in his email.
Yeah. He practiced brain extraction on severed heads.
Nice.
Then he went and ate dinner with his wife.
Wait, and this guy's a doctor, not a fucking serial killer?
Again, when you
didn't kill the
when you
people.
give your
I know,
body
but
to medical
still,
science,
like,
look at your driver's license.
yeah.
If it says organ donor,
Oh, yeah.
this is the fate of your body.
Well,
I'm fine.
I thought there'd be
that's the
some
thing you have
kid
to
being
check.
like, I need a new liver, and then he'd get my liver and be like, fuck.
no, dude, no. They
So
throw your liver away.
Fair
I know
enough.
we're going to get into the nitty gritty here, but what I really want to know is, like, how can I get in on this this body mummification thing? Not my body. I want to mummify some bodies.
How do I get in on this racket?
Yeah, this sounds great. I
Go to college.
want to work. Pass.
The correct follow-up question was community
No.
or regular.
Yeah. No, you have to be. You have to dedicate your life to this stuff.
So our
honestly.
liberal arts degrees are nothing.
It's
for this.
useless
Okay.
compared to this.
got an A.
Gra- Granted, they
Almost.
are already useless. But
Yeah. It's still useless in this realm.
Okay.
But shit. What he did, he Bob Breyer, he worked with anatomists. He worked with surgeons. He worked with people that were experts in this field, including himself, who is an expert. They just didn't know. They didn't know, like, for instance, it never says, well, if you're going to dry out a body, do you drain the blood?
Yeah.
It doesn't say.
If you're going to pull a brain out through the nose, do you scramble it first?
Well, and they say...
Like eggs?
Well, they say you got to pack the body in natron, which is like a salt. Sodium bicarbonate salt mixture.
Mm-hmm. Baking soda?
Well, sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda, and salt. It's a mixture.
Okay.
It's natron, right? And it occurs naturally. Okay.
So it's to desiccate the corpse.
It's to dry the corpse.
Desiccate the corpse.
Yes. Okay, I didn't know.
Desecrate the corpse.
Desecrate. But no. Well, how much natron? Never says how much natron. Right. So they have to find all this out. So that's why they're doing it. They're not doing it to get a mummy. They're doing it to get knowledge on
what did
how
they do with
mummies
the mummy?
are made. Well, now the mummy is a control mummy.
Uh-huh.
So let me explain.
Wait, is there placebo mummies?
This? Yeah, they're called it's called Christian burials.
It's called corpses.
A normal corpse. Yeah. Well, okay. Let me get into it. So they wanted to. They get a lot of this information from Herodotus. He was, he went to Egypt, and some say he didn't even go. Some say he made all this shit up.
Greek fella, right?
Yeah, Greek. I agree with Dr. Bob Breyer when he says Herodotus isn't just full of shit. The thing is he's like a reporter, and somebody told him this, and probably didn't.
Character.
Yeah, well, they probably didn't know exactly how it was done, but he asked, and they felt like they needed an answer, so they told him something, right?
Yeah.
So he has a lot of inaccuracies in his writings, but that's because sometimes people don't know. And you're following a guide. Herodotus had a guide, multiple guides, to get him all the way down there. I think he was just recording misinformation.
Yeah.
But the thing is okay, let me get back to it. So a lot of these guys, they thought, how are we going to get the liver, the largest organ inside of the human body, how are we going to get the liver out through a 2.5-inch incision? Because it's in 2 lobes, and it's big. Like, you can hold out 2 hands and hold the entire liver.
So a straw wouldn't work?
No.
Like even for boba?
No, so...
You need one of those big fat boy straws.
Yeah, for boba.
Yeah.
So...
It's bubble tea.
You find out really quick what you keep and what you don't. And why they only have 4 canopic jars. Because we all know that you have more than 4 organs inside of your body.
Yeah,
right?
But do we have more than 4 canoptic organs?
Well, that's the thing. So it's what they deemed important and what they saved. And that says a lot about their culture, right? So you're pulling out all this stuff. So like when you're pulling out the intestines.
That all goes in the trash.
Well, you have 20-some feet of intestines.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so it's not precious.
Well, the thing is about it is that they have no word for gallbladder or pancreas. Why? Because it comes out with all of that. And it's easy to miss. And they just missed it.
It's just visceral.
They just missed it when they were pulling it out.
They're just pulling a slimy rope out of its body.
Especially the gallbladder. Like when the gallbladder comes out, it liquefies.
Yeah, okay.
It liquefies. So it's hard to see, They had no word for it. The lungs were also removed. The heart stayed. The heart stayed there. Because they felt that you thought with your heart. Because when you get excited or mad, your heart thumps. Your brain doesn't thump. Your heart thumps.
What a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it romantic.
Isn't it a little romantic?
Thinking with your
I would
heart.
like to think that we're going to hard cut to the year, I don't know, fucking 3,000, I don't know, fucking, and there's going to be a future podcast, and they're going to be like, and they thought with their brains.
Yeah, totally. You think with your dick.
Yeah, and everyone knows, you think with your dick, and those bones in your foot named after Egyptian languages.
Honestly, Ramesses' heart was in the wrong place. It was in the wrong place. It was in the wrong side.
They don't fucking know.
You know why? What they think, at
Moved
least?
it around a little.
Well, they think it fell out.
They put it back in.
So what they did,
How
they didn't
embarrassing.
just put it back in, but when they put it back in, they sewed it in. They sutured it in with gold thread because gold doesn't tarnish. Doesn't degrade. So they sewed it back in with gold thread. Yeah.
They're like, good as new.
Yeah.
You're like, how
Was not
embarrassing.
supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Well, no one's gonna see it.
It's actually by the kid.
Anubis will know.
But the one we all know is the brain. Because that's the one you always remember from elementary school,
Yeah,
right?
bring it out of your nose.
So there's a bone right here at the bridge of your nose, about where it separates the brain from the rest of your skull. Right?
Anybody who's a badass knows that you do the palm thing and you game over. You win. You win the fight. You do the what?
Right into their
Yeah,
brain.
right.
Yeah.
You put that bone right into their brain. It's fucking game over.
I
Well,
forget
no.
how much
And then you
pressure
throw-
you have to put to it, but yeah.
Like 30 psi.
It, does,
I don't
does,
fucking know.
doesn't even matter, man. You throw on your duster, you get your 2 girlfriends, you get on your motorcycle, your hog, and you drive back. You drive back to the.
Your hog.
You drive from the roadhouse you're at to the
Hog.
roadhouse you live at.
Pain
So you-
don't hurt.
You said duster? With 2 girlfriends, you forgot the fedora, and the motorcycle is actually a little scooter.
Yeah, and actually the fact that I left my
lady.
katana blade on the floor because
Yeah.
during the fight the guy
Oh,
somehow
two katana
managed to
blades.
disarm me, but it's okay because my hands are already a lethal weapon. They're registered.
I have to get them registered. That's what they always say. It's ridiculous.
If I kill somebody,
I have to go to jail for life.
you're
Yeah.
like,
Or some
remember that
shit.
from
Nicolas Cage and fucking Con Air.
No,
Yeah.
I was talking about
Basically.
no, that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when he's talking
yeah,
to
yeah.
Bruce Lee and he's
My
like,
hands
if
are
I kill
dangerous
someone,
weapons.
I have to go to jail, and he goes, yeah, that's called manslaughter.
Most people go to jail if they kill somebody with their bare
It's
hands.
like, yeah, you go to jail for that.
Everyone does.
That
Anyway,
movie's great.
but no, everyone remembers the brain part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
'Cause when you learn that in school, you're like, ew, you stick it up your nose and get the brain
It's
out.
twisted.
Yeah,
thought
so
it was rad.
where we get this, because again, it doesn't exist anywhere. Where we get this is from Herodotus. Herodotus said that the person he was with, the person that told him how it was done, because he didn't see it happening, he was told how it was done. So it's sort of second.
He didn't want to see it? That's weird.
No, it was secondhand knowledge. It's a religious thing. They didn't want
yeah.
an
No, I
outsider
get
seeing it, but
Talk to a guy at a bar.
they said it was.
After a couple
Yeah.
shots.
He was drunk as fuck. No, they said that Herodotus says that it's this iron hook-shaped instrument with a like a hook on the end.
Coat hanger.
Yeah, it looks like a coat hanger. Exactly. And what you do is you feed it up the nostril, and you kind of gotta jab it a little bit to break that bone that separates the rest of your face from
From your brain.
your brain. Now, they tried it. They found a bunch of other bronze, because again, Bronze Age. Like there was something that an earlier Egyptologist called the death knife, because it had this hook thing on the end. So, going inside the body cavity and getting the liver out, like you can hook it around something, kind of yank it, and cut out the organs, right?
So they got a secondhand account from some guy, and then they found something that looks similar. Like, you think this is
That's
the
all
one
they
with
have.
the thing?
That's all they have. So they tried it. They tried it because
Did it work?
it didn't. They said this is for something else. Don't know what this is for, but it's not for mummification. I can tell you that right now.
They
Yeah.
said it
Tossed
with
it.
aprons covered in brains.
And they actually kept the room at a temperature and humidity that would be exactly the same as over there.
That sounds
As
like
Egypt.
hell.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like 100 degrees in there.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But it was a
Dry heat. It's
Yeah,
a dry
dry
heat.
heat.
like Arizona.
Yeah. So what they did is, what they found out is that if you just stick it up there and you break the bone, you stick it up there, pulling it back out, that little hook on the end that he's talking about, it doesn't really pull anything out. It's sort of, you can't really do that. And they tried several times. They tested it on other severed human heads.
Yeah.
But what they found out is that it's not just sticking the hook up there and trying to grab the brain out. That's what people thought it used to be until
Yeah.
he did
Yeah,
this.
Like a one and done. Whoop.
Yeah, you get it and you drag it out.
Yeah.
That's how everyone used to think it was.
I think it's
like in the
gonna be gross.
90s.
It's gonna be gross.
So here's what it actually is.
Oh God.
You feed the entire hook inside the head.
Yeah.
And once the whole hook is inside, like if you think about it going all the way up the nose, you feed the hook in and you kind of rotate it around so the whole hook gets inside your head, and then you rotate it.
So it's like a whisk.
It's like a whisk.
Scrambled them brains.
And it's like scraping out the bottom of a bowl
From
with
the
a
skull.
spoon.
Yeah.
And what you do is you rotate it enough, and then you invert the corpse to where their nose is pointing to where the brain becomes viscous enough. You basically scramble the brains until it becomes liquid.
Until it pours out your nose.
And it pours out your nose.
That's
it,
badass.
It like snot. It leaks out your nose like that.
So it's not the fatality that I thought it was. It's a different
So-
fatality.
yeah.
Like, the inside of your skull is super hard like that.
Yeah,
Like it is
yeah.
like it's one of the hardest bones in the body.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense that you could really get in there and go fucking
Scrape
deep,
it clean.
scraping all
it
that
clean.
excess brain off the
And you
roof of your
drain it
skull.
out. Yeah, and
Fucking
then
rad.
but
That's using your head.
Oh God!
But the
my
thing is-
tummy just did like 5 somersaults.
I
The
think
grossest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So we spray our we take the organs out of our corpses and then we spray paint them with makeup and then we wheel them out so everyone can be like, I knew them when they didn't look like this.
Open caskets are weird as shit.
And we're
it
like,
looked like
that's
shit.
yeah. And they're like, oh no, we didn't do any of that. That's fucked up. But we did scramble their brains until it ran out their nose like a fucking scrambled eggs.
Well, here's
Yeah.
what they did too. So there can't be any more left in there. And the thing is you're just letting it drain out their nose.
Yeah.
You're not getting everything.
Are they?
There's no way.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, like a ketchup, ketchup bottle. No.
You gotta stick a knife up in there.
Well,
That's what they had to do.
you take a rod with some linen, because they had linen back then. The priests actually
Clean it up.
The priests wore linen, but you take some linen.
So grab
and
some
you,
of your priest robe and just shove it up
yeah,
there.
and you keep doing that, and you keep pulling it back out until there's no blood,
Like wiping your ass.
like wiping your ass.
Okay.
So you keep looking at it, and it's like, oh, still blood. Oh, we got to do it again, and you keep doing that until there's no blood. And then what you do is then down the same nose hole, you pour resin, and you fill the head with resin, and it helps preserve the body.
That's
Wow.
Yeah, so it's all solid resin in there.
Crack it open, it's like a reverse, like, fucking, like, chocolate on, like, Christmas Day.
It's like an Easter bunny.
Yeah, or like a Cadbury cream egg kind
Yeah,
of
there
situation.
you go.
I like how they're like,
Or like inside of those hollow bunnies, you see like a reverse image.
all that fucking brain matter. They're like, I don't know what any of this shit does. Let's get this out of here.
I know.
They didn't know what the brain did, so they
they're
threw
like,
the brain away. They
throw
didn't
that
put the
in
brain
trash.
in the canopic jars.
Wow.
Take that liver, don't fucking drop it. It's super important.
wasn't valuable like the heart.
Fucking scramble it up, pour it on the ground. I don't fucking
You don't want to
care.
drop the heart.
Yeah.
It'd be
Don't
like with
leave
One
it in
Tree
there.
Hill when that dog ate it.
Oh, is that Chad Michael Murray who looks so
I think
sad
so.
about
People
it?
at home, just Google like One Tree Hill dog eats heart and
It's-
watch the shortest clip you can find. It's the funniest shit I've ever
It's the
seen.
funniest thing I've ever seen on a TV show in my whole fucking life. Like, who wrote that?
That was on prime time.
Oh yeah. I never watched that show, but
And
I've
there's
seen that clip.
credits during that. So that's how that's how the episode started.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's real.
So they always say, oh well, you got to put the body in the natron, right? And we already talked about that, but they never say how much natron
Yeah,
for a whole human body to dry out in, right?
so they got to eyeball it.
Well, they figured
I like Styles balls.
because the only thing that dictates where your blood goes when you die is gravity. So they figured out where to put the most natron, right? And then you're supposed to let it sit for 35 days. This whole process takes 70 days, including the mourning process. That's more of a social thing. But including the mourning process, it all takes about 70 days. 35 days, though, it's supposed to sit in the natron. You're supposed to leave it alone. And then you take it out of the natron after 35 days. And it doesn't smell. Surprisingly enough, it does not smell. It's totally preserved. You take it out, but it's like caked on. It's like concrete.
You're
and you
talking
can
about
chisel
making-
it out.
People into pickles.
They pickled him.
Pickle people.
Well, when Bob Breyer was doing this, he was, you have to ask these scientific questions. He goes, well, okay, there's two different types of natron solutions we can use. We can do dry, or we can do wet.
Yeah,
A dry
Right.
rubber.
a dry
Like a pickle, like a pickle, or
Or a
like just
steak.
salting, like jerky.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is,
Do you want to pickle your mummy, or do you want to like, you know,
You want to dry it out.
dry it
like
out,
jerky.
jerk it?
Do you want to put it on a sandwich, or do you want Rocky to punch it?
Well, they figured, because you don't know, but they figured that if the Egyptians want all the moisture out, then it would be counterintuitive to have a solution.
Yeah.
And if there were indeed solutions, then we would have found vats of mixing it in wet solutions, which we've never found. So that's not a real thing. So it was dry.
rub.
It was dry.
It's a dry rub. Yeah.
So 600 pounds for a human body needs to be in natron.
That's what they found
600
out.
pounds?
Fuck. Wow.
That's why it's so expensive.
Well,
and they're
salt,
getting...
paprika, onion powder, garlic powder.
Well, they don't do that just yet.
Chop up
That's
some
later.
leeks.
Oh, yeah, you gotta get some leeks in
So
there.
you really dig them out because it's all caked now.
Mm-hmm.
It's all caked in there. So you really dig them out. And honestly, it's not, you know, the way a mummy looks. Like their skin is all like flat, like
Mm-hmm.
the way a mummy looks. It's not the 3,000 years that makes them look that way. It's the natron.
Oh wow, they
It makes
already
them
look like
way.
that.
So
They just
right
dried
out
it.
of the natron.
Wow.
they
They
look
had
like
some work
this.
done.
I had assumed it was.
It's something they
time.
found out. It's
Yeah.
something they found out when they did it. That's what makes them look like a mummy.
Well, that's probably why
No
they're so well
shit.
preserved. Is they've already
yeah.
the
They're
effects
already
of time
dry.
is done.
It's already it's already done. It's already completely done. So honestly though, after 35 days, what they found out is because they wanted to wrap him like a pharaoh, and what they found out is that they couldn't cross the arms
They would snap
Should've
in
did it
half.
first.
because you're supposed to leave them after the 35 days by themselves because they're still a little juicy.
Right.
They still got a little bend in them.
Yeah.
Right? So, if you just leave them there and you don't cross the arms at that point, then it's impossible to cross the arms.
Okay.
They found that
They
out.
fucked that up.
So they wrapped him.
Got to do another one.
But he's basically
Right?
he's basically a
Throw this
control
one in
mummy.
the furnace. Go start over again.
He's a control mummy because anything that they do to an ancient mummy, they can compare it to this one. You know, does the degradation of DNA? Because you know, we've since experimented on DNA studies with the mummies. It's how they found out. Like, okay, well, is DNA degraded because of 3,000 years,
Yeah.
or is it degraded because of the mummification process as a
interesting.
whole? So they can compare that. So like they send samples of their control mummy to other places to compare with ancient mummies, right? It's super interesting. But Ramses' mummy, where I was getting to, you know, because once you wrap them and once you get all the amulets and stuff on them, you put them in the different
Bejewel
coffins
him.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bejewel him. Once you do that, you know, he's there forever, right? But again, Ramses was moved. He was moved because people were robbing temples. Even after the Old Kingdom, people were already robbing temples. Anyway, he was fully discovered, I should say, in the 1880s. And he wasn't treated as a historical artifact. He was treated as a dead body.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't taken care of. His body wasn't taken care
They
of.
weren't like, this guy was in the Bible. They were like, who's this dummy?
Well, they were just thinking about it as a dead body. So they weren't trying to like spray Scotch Guard
Yeah.
Right.
on him. You know, they weren't trying to save him.
They're like, this arm came off. Look, it's a guitar.
They were just trying to. They were just letting it sit, right,
Yeah.
like any dead body would. So he grew fungi on him,
Oh, no.
and it degraded the body.
Oh,
so
he
what
came
they,
to life!
So what they had to do, kind of, what they had to do was they sent him to England, and at that point, he was the only mummy to ever leave Egypt.
They all got cursed. Big time.
So what happened is that Ramses got full foreign dignitary treatment.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
any king, any foreign visiting power,
Wait.
he had his own passport
Yeah,
made.
I was about to say. I remember this. I remember
Because how do
reading
you
about this.
check a mummy through customs? You know, no.
Give him a
he was
passport.
given a full passport with his mummified face on it. It's a real thing. You can look it up. It's a real
looking
thing.
it up.
It's pretty ridiculous.
And so
we will post pictures on our social media for this because it's
well, look, I'm not going to post pictures of mummies. I just think it's a little distasteful.
What about the passport?
I'm not going to do that.
You know
The
what?
place where I will post it
Is in our
Patreon.
Discord
is on our Discord.
for our Patreon.
I will
pals.
post it on Discord. but I won't put it on social media just because everybody sees it. And man, I'm bothered.
Yeah, fair enough.
by mummies and stuff.
Even when it has the trigger warning stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to see some hot mummy on passport action, you gotta join our Patreon, hop on the Discord, and
I understand.
You can also Google it yourself pretty easily.
You could Google it yourself, but I mean, why not?
I just did.
Why give us money? Some money.
Okay,
give us money anyway.
Yeah.
So he was. They were like, well, what do we do? They found a bunch of different species of fungi on this thing, and they were like, what do we do? So what they did is gamma radiation. They're irradiated.
Make them a Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, they do this. They do this to surgical instruments to make sure that they are completely clean.
Yeah.
They irradiate them so nothing lives on them. So they're completely sterilized. So they did that to Ramesses. They irradiated his body with gamma rays, so nothing is on it. And then they put him in a plexi box that it has an atmosphere of nitrogen, because nothing lives in nitrogen.
Right.
So he is back home safe in the Museum of Cairo, as Egyptologists like to say, dead and well. But you can go and see
I was wondering
maybe
where he is
a
right
face of the Bible.
Yeah.
You can go and see something that old. That is truly amazing.
This guy might have met
Truly
Moses.
amazing. May have.
Probably
If
met a lot of guys.
If Moses existed.
No, he only met one guy.
Moses and Ramesses, it was like his alter ego.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he also probably met a lot of his kids.
Well,
At least 100 other guys.
well, and the thing is too is Ramesses. We actually have him. We actually have his body.
We got him.
Whether or not the Moses story even happened,
Oh, yeah.
that's besides the point. We have this body, a body of a person. We know exactly what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what Caesar looks like. We barely know what Napoleon Bonaparte looks like. He has a death mask and a life mask. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And paintings. That doesn't prove what he looks like. We have the real body of Ramesses II.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We know exactly what he looked like. You can't say that for most people throughout history. You can't. And he's much older than all of those people. George Washington, you can't say that.
It's fucking nuts.
Ramsey could take him in a fight.
And, honestly, let's...
I don't think so, to be honest.
What, Ramsey versus fucking George Washington?
Oh, big time George Washington.
No,
Fuck him
Ramsey II would fuck him up.
How come we keep calling him Ramsey?
Ramesses II.
up. Ramsey. Ramsey
Gordon
would
Ramsay?
fuck up George Washington.
Ramsey, because he had that big old...
Gordon Ramsay could take George Washington.
Yeah.
George Washington was a big dude. I don't think so. I don't buy
He'd
it.
hit him with some rustic
Gordon
moves.
Ramsay is scrappy.
Yeah.
I think Gordon Ramsay would.
He has that catcher's mitt face.
I think Gordon
He
Ramsay
can take a
might.
punch.
Gordon Ramsay maybe.
He would
George Washington.
demoralize the shit out of George Washington, and then would like sucker punch him. But Ramesses, number
Zach.
2, I think he knows a couple people that will jump into the fray, and then he would
He's
win.
got some thugs.
No, he would fucking lose the fight, then tell everyone he won.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Pretty
what
much.
That's what
yeah.
happened.
Yeah. Because it's like, well, none of my friends are over here.
He was
Those
like
other
the
cities.
Jake Paul of his time.
Yeah. But only the Jake Paul stuff exists.
Yeah.
Like, strip away all the rest of our society and just
yeah.
keep the Jake and Logan Paul stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Ramesses the Great, you
Yeah.
know.
Look how
Gross.
cool I am.
But honestly, Ramesses II, and really any pharaoh, but Ramesses II, I mentioned the fact that they didn't call him pharaoh, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
sure. Okay, he was looking for immortality. He got it.
Yeah.
He's still here,
Yeah.
and we still talk about him to this day.
We're talking about him today.
He'll never
He-
find peace
he is
until
truly-
they open that nitrogen tomb. And
Yeah.
and
He's truly immortal. He
Yeah.
is.
He's still conscious in there. That's
he's-
what happens.
He's screaming in there.
And well, sometimes mummies do move involuntarily.
Oh,
And
spooky.
there's been records of some mummies moving when they're discovered, and it's just from changes in air pressure and
That
things
makes
like
sense
this.
to me.
Yeah.
Curses and,
Yeah.
stuff.
By the way, when you open a tomb, you're not supposed to go directly in. You have to wait for it.
But you gotta wait
Just
for
settle.
the curse to get out.
Yeah.
You gotta wait
Air
for
out that curse.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in there that could kill you, and then you also, as somebody who is trying to preserve the place, anytime. By the way, Nefertari's tomb is structurally not sound. And also,
It's not up to code.
they don't want to let you in because anytime you perspire in there, anytime somebody is in there perspiring, you are changing the atmosphere, and you're in a sense destroying the temple.
Oh, yeah.
Each time anyone goes in,
Everything about a human body just oozes like destruction.
it costs money. It's one of the few temples that costs money to get in, and they only sell a certain amount of tickets each day it's open.
Wow.
And the Getty Museum that restored it, and that's super interesting too. Well, they decided that when they found it, because it was already sort of ruined in places, they're like, well, we could fix it back to where it was.
But
And
why?
you'd never know. So they did it in just a section. And the parts that they replaced, they put a small faint, you can see it if you're up close, but they put a small faint cross-hatching. So that's how you know that this is not ancient, it's modern. But you know what it looks like now because they put in the
new part.
The new parts. Super interesting.
Yeah.
Super interesting. And a lot of this stuff, man, this is just a toe into ancient Egypt. And thank you to my two sources that I kind of made myself, right? I put them together myself. But my two sources, Dr. Bob Breyer, he's kind of like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of Egyptology.
Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Dr. Bob Breyer, he is fantastic. And Dr. Kara Cooney, who wrote When Women Ruled the World. It's a fantastic book. Seriously fantastic. Go get that book. It's amazing. And she has several books out, all worth reading. But those two is kind of where I'm coming from here. So those are my sources.
I feel like we covered so much. We covered the life and times of Ramesses II. We covered kind of the greatest hits of the Book of Exodus. And we covered...
I mean, that is the Book of Exodus.
Wait, we covered the Book of Exodus. You know what? Like, not even... Like,
Genesis is the one with a bunch of crazy stories in it.
And then after
got
that, we
lots right from
covered,
that.
kind of all of the highs and lows of becoming a mummy and discovering...
And the creamy middles.
And the creamy
middles.
Well, and not even that. Like how to rediscover how mummification works in a modern setting.
Yeah.
We also discussed
really
about Elvis and Costello.
Yeah, and how they got spooked by the mummy's
Costello
curse.
When they met the mummy.
Yeah.
So we're the
All
History Boys. Thanks for listening. I am Christopher Whedon.
I am Tyler Armentrout, passing all of the housekeeping to Jerry before I go.
Oh, well, you know what I'm going to do, Tyler?
Yeah?
I'm going to pass the buck.
Back to me?
No, back over to Zach. And I'm just going to say... Thank you so much for listening, my dear listener. I love you.
Once you say your name, you don't got to talk anymore.
So much.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm talking about. That's why I'm doing this. Thank you so much for listening. We all love you so much. Zach, who are you?
Hi, I'm Zach Meck, and I'm a history boy. If you want to support the podcast, please become a patron pal. Head over to patreon.com/HistoryBoiz, BOIZ.
Yeah.
And you can, just for as low as $1, you'll be able to access the Discord and hang out with us during our monthly Beers with the Boys, or Suds with the Buds, fucking libation conversation.
Cold Ones with the Old Ones is my favorite.
What's
Yeah.
this?
Skulls with the pulls or
Yeah.
pals?
Yeah,
It doesn't sound great when you write it out. When you when you write it, it's cool.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're basically saying is you get
party.
to have a fucking drink with us and
party.
laugh and just hang out, whatever. We do that at least once a month, and it's great and it's fantastic, and it's a fucking party. You can come and go as you please, like any fucking house party.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. We have plenty of channels on our Discord. Show off your pets. Fucking
video games.
Talk the video games.
If you're interested in helping us out, that doesn't cost you a cent. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if that's where you listen to us from. That helps us out immensely.
Yeah. Puts us up on the charts.
Yeah, man. And by the way, can I just say this?
Mm-hmm.
We are number 54 on the charts of comedy podcasts in Liberia. Thank you so much, Liberian listeners. I see you. Thank you so much.
People of Monrovia and the larger Liberian area, we really appreciate all of your support throughout the whole process. This has really been about you. Our listeners in North America, other parts of the world, we really don't care so much about.
That's not true.
This has always been a Liberian podcast.
And our show will never be behind a paywall. All of our regular episodes will always be free. That is a promise that we will make to you. There's been talk, with Apple and with certain places that they might put it behind a paywall. We will do everything we can to keep our regular episodes free for everyone who wants to listen.
Cool.
Just want to let you know.
I will fight Tim Cook to the death with a knife in my teeth.
With a death
Before
knife.
he lets... Yeah, with a hooked death knife in my teeth. Before I
made of
let him
bronze.
put our episodes behind a paywall.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, look here, you old billionaire. I'm going to get you.
Anyway, again, I'm Jerry Nash, your humble history boy. Thank you again so much for listening. We love each and every one of our listeners to the nth degree. Zach, do the thing.
Love you, bye!
We had a lot of fun. We'll see you next time. Or I guess we won't, whatever. Whatever. Bye.